We are videoing. This is video of a list of tiers, and these tiers are listed in order, and we are putting things in those tiers in the order of the tiers that they're listed in. All right, I think I explained that pretty well.
And we're gonna try not to get demonetized this time.
Oh, stinky! That I just noticed. The second, well, the first one we have to do is gonna be easy. The second one's gonna be interesting. The first one is Aquaman versus Namor.
I feel like Aquaman would probably win an official crossover.
Ignoring that he did win the official crossover, because that was like fan voted. In this fight, Namor is absolutely going to be the antagonistic force of it, comparatively. So Aquaman's gonna just get the moral victory at least. So I say that one's in the correct tier. That's good. That's good. No worries. We have the Mega Man Battle Royale though. What we can say for certain is that X would beat Classic and EXE would beat Star Force. We know that for a fact.
I feel like we could also safely say Volnut wouldn't win.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that X would at least take out Volnut. EXE's never been in that timeline, but X is like meant to be the pinnacle of...
I feel like if it were to come down to X and EXE, I think it's not an unfair assessment to say EXE might win.
The thing is, I don't know enough about EXE to really be able to say.
Well, just because I imagine if an official crossover did happen between them, it would be X in his base form. I don't imagine they'd give him that many different crazy armors. I don't imagine they'd give him, like, the Mother Elf. I don't imagine he'd be, like, ZX era X. I imagine he would just be Mega Man X.
I doubt they're going to give any of the crazy stuff to EXE either.
Right, but I feel like just in general, him having a wider arsenal and him being a little more metaphysical by nature might make him a little tricky.
Honestly, I feel like they'd probably give X the win just because he's the most popular Mega Man outside of Classic.
That's fair. I think that definitely could be the case.
Yeah, I think this one probably goes into unsure because the thing is that there are 5 characters here. And it's not as clear cut as Pokemon Battle Royale, where like they're just giving the win to Charizard. We know that for a fact. In this case, we know who's not winning, but between X and EXE, I think it's going to come down to, like, if the writer chooses to acknowledge how much more advanced the technology in the EXE timeline is, as well. And also, like, where they're fighting. Like, if EXE has to come out into the real world, I don't think they'd give them the win at all. But if it was in the digital world, I think they would give EXE the win.
Yeah.
Right, we have Black Widow versus Widowmaker. Black Widow would win.
Yeah, pretty soundly at that.
Yeah, Widowmaker is the bad guy. She would get shot in the face. We have Captain Marvel versus Shazam. I just feel like Shazam will be given the win.
It depends. It depends who's writing the story. If it's Marvel, they're absolutely going to have Carol win because Marvel loves gassing up Carol.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's a good point. I think I brought that up with Android 18 versus Captain Marvel, that Android 18 would lose and it would be the most unsatisfying thing in the world.
Yeah, because it's like on an unbiased ground, I think I could definitely see Shazam winning just because he's Shazam. He's like
obviously this
Superman if you can't get Superman.
This wouldn't this wouldn't just be Marvel writing it alone. Like obviously DC would have a hand in writing it too. It would be both working together. In which case, I think that they would want to keep the image of, because like Captain Marvel's image is she's really strong in the movies, and in the comics, she's the herald that can get the kick beaten out of her by War Machine. Well, Shazam
I feel like
is
they might have Shazam win, but as Shazam has won and is like helping her up, he's absolutely filleting her ego.
Yeah, and also
it's like, oh my god, Captain Marvel, you're the coolest person ever. You're the strongest person I've ever fought. You're the greatest.
Yeah,
and it's like but
and then she also wouldn't.
She didn't win.
She also wouldn't get binary.
Yeah, probably not.
I guess that's pretty base. The fight would be non-binary.
Yeah.
Yeah, goated. Wario versus DDD. Now, This one is absolutely going to depend on whose side you're playing as, I think. Because these guys are equally as likely to take a fat L as they are to take a massive W. But I do think Wario tends to be playable and the star more often than DDD. Like, by a pretty decent margin, too.
Definitely the case. So I feel like I would lean towards Wario.
Yeah, I would lean towards Wario. So, okay, alright. So, alright, okay, so, alright, so, Ben 10 versus Green. You know what? I'm gonna go check on my food. You can handle this one solo, Don. Alright, I'm just gonna go.
Alright, Ben 10 versus Green Lantern, I feel like it's pretty easy to say Green Lantern will win. Not only is he more experienced, but typically it's not uncommon in Ben 10 shows for, you know, when another hero comes along, they outperform Ben. Ben has to prove himself as a worthy hero, and that he earns their respect. This has happened quite a few times, especially in the classic series. And I feel like Ben would think that Hal's just, like, the coolest guy ever. But I think it would be a pretty sound Green Lantern win.
I just heard Green Lantern win. Alright, I agree. This is correct.
I feel like you didn't leave. I feel like you just...
No, I did. I left and I found that I forgot to put the boiling water into the noodles. I forgot to put the noodles into the boiling water, which means that essentially nothing happened.
Wow. Well done.
Alright, I've accidentally slipped it into incorrect, which I know is already... See, people have already screenshotted that, but I'm just going to put it into correct, just to upset people. Weiss versus Mitsuru.
You should put it in incorrect for the thumbnail, just because.
Absolutely, yeah. Weiss versus... I mean, it's not clickbait now. It was in incorrect. Got ya.
Yeah.
Weiss versus Mitsuru.
Weiss winning, unimaginable.
Yeah, I think that it comes down to the fact that Weiss taking a 101 W, it happened once against Marrow, but I'm pretty sure there was still, like Marrow was, like, distracted. Like, Marrow wasn't in the fight. He didn't want to be in that fight. He wasn't giving it his all. And then they later implied that all of the Aesops weren't giving it their all, which, shut the hell up. You don't try to cover up your shitty writing like that. But Weiss versus Mitsuru, I think, logically, as Weiss is one of the main protagonists, while Mitsuru, in the wider Persona sphere, I don't think is.
It would be a crossover with Persona 3 specifically. If it's a crossover with Persona, it would be a crossover with a specific part.
You know what? They would never have a one-on-one fight, because it would be a team fight. And in that team fight, Weiss is going to lose.
Yeah.
Weiss is going to get taken out, Mitsuru's going to help fight, like, Blake or something, and then Weiss is going to get back up later and do something stupid. And it's going to work. Johnny Cage versus Captain Falcon. Johnny Cage has taken L's, is the thing.
Yeah, but Johnny Cage literally has fucking green manifested plot armor.
Yeah, but that only works against, like... They even make it a plot point. It only works against Elder Gods for some reason.
I mean, he still holds his own fairly well against people like Kano and Goro.
Okay. Here's the thing, though. Outside of the 4 fights Johnny Cage is going to have in his chapter, he's going to do nothing but job. Captain Falcon has a 1 in 12 chance of not fighting Johnny Cage in the time period where Johnny Cage is going to win every fight. He's got an 11 in 12 chance to be like that. He's got a 1 in 12 chance to get into a fight with Johnny Cage during winning season. So there's a 1 in 12 chance of Johnny Cage winning.
Winning season.
Or like a 4 in 46 chance. 48. 4 in 48 chance of Johnny Cage actually winning this.
4 and 48 can just be simplified.
Yeah, that's 1 in 12, but I just wanted to, like, emphasize, because yes, it is technically 4 fights in a chapter. It's technically 4 and 48, but it's 1 in 12 chance for Johnny Cage to actually come out ahead winning this. So, me thinks that Captain Falcon would end up winning this fight. At the same time, there's also the... Now, I was going to say there's a thing that Captain Falcon doesn't really fight much outside of the anime and Smash, but also outside of the anime and Smash, when is he crossing over with anyone? Oh, outside of just Smash, I guess. Like, let's not forget, he's the guy who punched he punched the big Raditz enemy in the face, and, like, he won.
I really thought you were going to say he punched the Big Bang.
There is the Galaxy Punch.
Yeah, but that's not a Big Bang.
No. I'm just going to say this is
That's a
correct.
space station.
I think that there's a 1 in 12 chance that this is incorrect. And 1 in 12 is not, in fact, bigger than 1 in 2. There is, in fact, an extra 1 in that equation.
Mm-hmm.
Aang versus Edward Elric. Oh.
Aang, probably.
I think because they're both the protagonist here, it would probably just come down to who's getting top billing. I don't think narratively it makes any more sense for either to beat the other, unless you go with the logic of, well, I mean, Aang's got the Avatar state, so Edward would probably beat him, and then Aang would use the Avatar state, and then the Avatar... Yeah, he would use the Avatar state and then win.
I think narratively the reason Aang might win an initial encounter, or at the very least get the upper hand and then manage to get away, is just because there's nothing Ed can throw at him that he cannot bend back, plus he has stuff to throw at Ed that Ed can't deal with.
I mean, Aang can't bend metal.
He can't bend metal, but it's also hard for Ed to do that beyond just his arm. Because it's like,
exactly,
he could in any given scenario,
he could slap Aang.
There's more. Yeah, but Aang is going to have plenty of ways to get away from that.
I do think...
What happens when he tries to go towards Aang and then Aang just lights him on fire?
He would burn.
Exactly.
I think that in the end, I would say that just because the Avatar state is a thing and it's treated as like borderline unstoppable in any time it's used, at the very least, unless Aang doesn't get the Avatar state, I would say that Aang would win just because of how the Avatar state is generally portrayed. Ghost Roider versus Lobo.
Roider?
I think Ghost Roider would win.
Yeah, probably.
Can I just say, right, Ghost Roider tends to be the protagonist, and Lobo doesn't. So I think Ghost Roider would win.
I could tell you firsthand, though, that that's going to be the most annoying fight Ghost Rider has ever had in his life.
Absolutely! That's not going to be fun at all. The fact that he looks so, like, genuinely pissed in the thumbnail while Lobo looks barely inconvenienced, that's a pretty accurate representation of how the majority of that fight's going to go.
Yeah, where it's mostly going to be Lobo just throwing the fucking most absurd shit at Ghost Rider, and Ghost Rider getting back up and being like, I'm livid. I am irate.
How many times do I have to kill you? Till it works. Completely helpless. Just the worst advice ever.
More or less.
Alright, Dragonzord versus Kiryu. Now, we already know how the Dragonzord tends to go against Godzilla's. So that is worth noting. And Kiryu is the one Mecha Godzilla.
In the official crossover, Godzilla killed it in 3 hits.
And Kiryu is the one Mecha Godzilla to at his latest even, like, properly take Godzilla on in a 1v1. Because Showa was able to at first, but then when it got rebuilt, it was no longer able to. And Heisei, God forbid, that fucker can't throw hands for shit. And the Monsterverse one, I mean, Godzilla was really bloody tired at that point. He doesn't get points for that. Kiryu takes on a fully fresh, ready-to-go Godzilla all the time, and does pretty good. The Dragonzord tried to do the same thing, and died. Really, really badly. Like, it was like a Final Wars fight. That's how quickly that went down.
Yeah. Again, it was 3... So, essentially what happened was Dragonzord shot some missiles at Godzilla. Godzilla got pissed off, and then he scratched it, did a tail attack, and then did 1 atomic breath, and as Tommy described it, it was completely trashed. And then it was picking it up and about to completely just demolish it. And the other Rangers show up and are like, Megazord power! And then they fucking...
They also
kind of double KO, but...
Mostly because the Zillions showed up and, like, started attacking. And, like, just made Godzilla go, God, stop it! If you're gonna do that, I'm just gonna go. Dicks.
Yeah, or it's like, Godzilla and the Rangers both kind of just fucked off to go regroup.
No manners, I swear. Sasuke versus Hiei. Now, this is sacred ground. We should note that this would be taking place on sacred ground, apparently.
This is definitely going to be sacred ground, and Hiei's a demon, no less. I feel like generally Sasuke is treated okay when he's not, like, in the story of Naruto.
Yeah, but I also feel like Hiei is generally more portrayed as, like, more full-on than Sasuke. Sasuke tends to be, yes, he's really strong. Now, here's him getting punched in the face. I feel like Hiei is more likely to be the one doing the punch in the face.
That's fair. I think. I mean, it's like
I'm trying to think of
I don't
Jason's
know.
one.
I feel like both are considered uh pretty equally competent when it comes down to it. It's just the level of shit Sasuke's fighting is beyond absurd. However, people have been pointing out Sasuke has like 3 different means to just get his arm back and just chose not to.
He's a very smart man. That's Sasuke. I do wonder if they would even let Hiei's eyeball get out of a genjutsu. Maybe like a first like baby level genjutsu, but when Sasuke starts like spamming the eyeballs, I wonder if they would even stretch like, you know, to have Hiei even get out of that. They'll stretch my suspension of disbelief to believe that Hiei could do anything against that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just the feeling I get is that Sasuke would win.
Yeah, he would get
Or it's like
popped.
if Sasuke can actually fight Naruto and win like he has in the past, I don't recall if Hiei ever outright
Has
beat
Hiei never
Yusuke in a
beaten
fight. I could
Yusuke?
just be wrong.
I think at least, I mean, by Boruto,
I think
Sasuke does have a
I think
Velociraptor,
someone
so
either always yeah, like I think in their first confrontation, someone either intervened or Hiei just left. And then past that, they're usually portrayed as like equals. There's not that many points in the story where Yusuke and Hiei really even fight.
to be fair,
Like as far as like actually
Naruto and
trying to
Sasuke
fight each
don't like
other.
properly throw hands as often as some people might think either. You're not doing it every 3 seconds or
Yeah,
anything.
they do it 3 times, kinda. 2 times
There's one
really, and
really
then
important one, and then the others are not nearly as big.
yeah, where it's like there's the final battle of part one, there's the final battle of Shippuden, and then there's the bridge where, as much as you could call that a fight, as it's Sasuke saying, "Step off, don't follow me, you will die."
I completely forgot about the bridge thing. No, like that's just
Where Sasuke was about to call down Kirin and just fucking murder
I
Naruto.
can't even remember that event at all. It's not. My memory of Shippuden is kind of shot though. So
It's when they're going to retrieve Sasuke for the first time with Yamato and Sai, and then they find Orochimaru's hideout, and then they're like battling Orochimaru, and I think that was around the first time Naruto's
oh,
Four Tails came out, and then Yamato's able to subdue it. I think
I
he
should.
Sasuke shows up. He's like, "Hey guys, you guys were looking for me," and then he shows up. He says, "Don't follow me." Almost kills Naruto. Is about to throw down Kirin, and then Orochimaru's like, let's go do something
I
else."
should reread the manga at some point. Um, Gandalf versus Dracula.
Hmm. I honestly, I think narratively, just the shit that Dracula does is portrayed as more absurd in Castlevania than what Ganon does in Zelda. Because a lot of the time, Ganon will just like rise through the ranks by like political assassination or kidnapping or whatever. Meanwhile, Dracula just sits in his fucking floating castle and does whatever he feels like, and then someone has to go out where he's at and challenge him.
Yeah, I'm just trying to like picture in my head, like they both in universe they're both portrayed as like the ultimate big bad guy douche nozzle thing. Both tend to only lose
I
because the
guess
hero has like a weapon that is super good against them.
the best you could say is that at the current point, because of the existence of Soma Cruz, Dracula has more or less been stopped. Ganon hasn't.
At the same time, Dracula being stopped is probably closer to Demise being stopped as opposed to if Ganon was stopped, because he is probably just closer to Demise in terms of how he's portrayed than Ganon. Like, Dracula isn't the piece of the real big bad guy that's out to get you. He just is the bad guy. He is the mean. That was
Mm-hmm.
the least. That was the least intimidating way to describe him. He is the mean.
I am the mean.
He would say it with so much pride, too.
What is a mean? Nothing but a miserable little pile of secrets. But
What
enough
is the
talk.
mean?
Have at you.
What is the meme?
What is the meme?
A miserable
I don't
little
get
average of the set of values you've given me. But enough talk!
Alucard,
Let's do arithmetic!
explain this meme to me.
Just,
Alucard, look at this meme on my phone. Explain it to me.
I did say mean, not meme, but...
I don't get it, Alucard. You killed my mother.
Dracula is the meme as well. Like, Ganondorf's not a meme. What memes are there about Ganondorf? Doria? That's not even from Legend of Zelda.
Now, I'm going to stop you there. And I'm going to stop you there and say that in the past year, there has been a Ganondorf meme that's been very popular circulating. It's the Great King of Evil Ganondorf, where it'll just be any given... It'll be any given clip with just the voice, like, pitch shifted down, and then the caption, when the Great King of Evil Ganondorf, the whole title every time, is doing this.
Yeah, but, like, Dracula's memes are funnier.
That is true, but to say that Ganondorf is not a meme is incorrect.
No, Ganondorf's not a meme. Ganon is. This is Ganondorf versus Dracula, not Ganon versus Dracula. It's not the Great King of Evil Ganondorf.
Your mom.
She's not here right now. If she was, I'd tell her to say hello. I'd say, hey, can you say hello to the Irish guy over there? And then you would be able to respond. And you'd feel really silly and sad about it.
Why wouldn't I be able to respond? Would I not hear her?
Because I'm not gonna tell her what you say. I'm just gonna leave you to be sad and alone.
What?
Mob versus Tatsumaki. Now, we do have that one statement that is incredibly unhelpful that says Tatsumaki would beat Mob, except if Mob was in unknown %, he's got no idea.
I mean, what are the odds that Tatsumaki, of all people, pushes him that far?
Yeah, the thing is, right...
Because it took a lot for him to get that far in the story.
If one is consistent with his statement and trying to tell a good narrative, I do think Tatsumaki would probably win. But if he was just like, screw narrative, let's just make this as cool as possible, he would put Mob into unknown %, and I think Mob would win, because he is the hero, and Tatsumaki is just a hero.
Mm-hmm.
But... based on what he said,
I think it's fair to say Tatsumaki would win.
I do think he would have Tatsumaki win. She wouldn't kill him, and it would be one of the few times like that she ever like feels. I think he would make it be like Tatsumaki did get pushed back, like she did struggle here, which is not common for her.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are, like the situation he would be in would be like some complete and utter bullshit has somehow ended up with Mob in the position where he's in some sort of like superhero training thing that he doesn't want to be in, and Tatsumaki's also there, and she also doesn't want to be there, but she's just going along with it anyway, for the hell of it, and that's why they fight. That is the only situation I could see them fighting, is some incredibly inane nonsense that forces them both into a situation they don't really want to be in, but they just do it anyway. In which case there's no narrative stakes, so Tatsumaki can just go ahead and win, and there's no real problem. And I feel like Mob going unknown % would be kind of, is this really the most fitting time for that, Mob? Is that really?
Don't forget about your food.
Oh shit. Okay, you can talk about Deadpool versus the Mask while I go check my food.
Instead of talking about Deadpool versus the Mask, I'm going to tell everybody.
Stop my way out. I can't hear what you're saying, Don.
Instead of talking about Deadpool versus the Mask, I'm going to talk about the movie Monkey Man. If you like action movies, if you enjoyed John Wick, you would really like this one. Also, it has a really cool social commentary. It's very progressive. It's got a cool message. Go see Monkey Man either in theaters, or if you can't see it in theaters, Yar Har Fiddle Dee. But you should definitely check it out. It's really good. But yeah, if Deadpool and the Mask crossed over, that they'd find either Deadpool would lose for the bit, or they would find some way for Deadpool to win. That's what it is. But yeah, go see Monkey Man in theaters. It's very good. I wonder. I wonder what Nem's making. He said something noodle based, but I don't want to assume because there's so many types of noodles. I'm probably wrong. It could be pasta. How are you guys today? Tell me, what movies have you seen recently? Do you have any recommendations? Leave them in the comments. Animated, live action.
Okay. I'm back.
Howdy.
So we agree that the Mask would lose.
I feel like either the Mask would completely kick the shit out of Deadpool for the sake of the bit, or Deadpool would find some way to win because he's Deadpool.
No, the Mask would just beat the crap out of him. Mike Guy.
Because Deadpool will be like, I'm here to assassinate this big head guy, and then the Mask starts doing the Mask thing and just fucking starts annihilating Deadpool. Deadpool's like, what? What is this? I do not usually have this much trouble with metahumans.
Would be the bit. And I feel like it wouldn't end with Deadpool losing. It'd end with Deadpool just going, nah. I'm not getting paid enough for this, and then leaving, and then taunting the audience about it.
Like, geez, is this what it's like to be around me? No wonder.
Alright, All Might versus Mike Guy. All Might.
We're gonna have a lot of fun seeing what I talked about while you were gone.
I don't think Mike Guy would use the 8 gates in official crossover, so I think All Might would win.
Yeah, well, by the time we see All Might in the story, he's already fucking terribly debilitated.
It wouldn't be Prime All Might either. That is a point to be made.
It wouldn't be Prime All Might. So I think genuinely Guy might win by just having the power of youth on his side, unless it's current Might Guy where he's in a wheelchair.
I mean, in that case, the fight's going to be literally the saddest fight penned in a manga.
All Might's going to turn his car into a suit of armor.
Well, I'm not up to date with Mario Haka. That sounds really stupid. And I am going to say you made that up because I don't like the sound of that. That sounds dumb.
It is a little dumb, but it's kind of cool.
So I think I feel like All Might's going to get top billing, and I think that All Might is generally portrayed still as able to keep up. So I think All Might would win, and then they would comment about how insane it would be if All Might was in his prime and Might Guy used his full power. And they're like, we have no idea who'd win that. That'd be pretty sick, though.
Yeah. You should catch up on My Hero. It's pretty good.
Why don't you catch up on My Hero?
I did.
But then I might then. Miles versus Static. Bruh. If anyone thinks that Static Shock is gonna get the billing over Miles fucking Morales over the Spider-Man in a fight, bruh.
Well, he's not the Spider-Man.
We're not getting into that right now. Spider-Man is beating.
Well, it's like the current state of the Spider-Man brand is all about how there's a whole multiverse of Spider-Man. So it's like technically there's no such thing as the Spider-Man.
He is the Spider-Man as much as any other Spider-Man is the Spider-Man, except the females. They're the Spider-Woman.
I had such an experience going to the comic store with my friends and having to ask my friend who's a big Spider-Man fan, like looking at all these comics. I'm like, okay, so what is that one? He's like, oh, that's Spider-Boy. He's like a weird genetic guy. I'm like, cool. Who's that one? It's like, oh, that's a different Spider-Man that's like hanging out with the X-Men right now. That's not actually a Spider-Man. I'm like, all right, what about that Spider-Man? Oh, that's Otto Octavius again. It's like, oh, cool. What about this Green Goblin? Oh, that's Spider-Man. It's like, what do you mean that's Spider-Man? It's the Green Goblin.
You point at this guy and you're like, who's this
Spider-Man?
What about
that one? Oh, that's Peter.
You point at this Spider-Man and you go, who's this Spider-Man? And he goes, that's Thor. And you look at it again and you go, oh, that's my bad.
I'm like, oh, so it is.
I spent so much time with this guy called Nemesis online that I've just suffered intense brain damage as a result.
I can't believe you've been transmitting dumb waves through my headphones into my brain.
Yep, that's me.
Speaking of, I'm not deaf anymore. I can hear again.
Excellent. Now you actually know what I'm saying. You're not just guessing it.
I do. Part of that's also because we haven't had the connectivity issues that we had before we started recording yesterday.
That's true. Miles Static.
Watch me jinx that.
I think Miles would get the win here.
Probably.
Just, yeah.
And then everyone would be like, "You're shitting on Dwayne McDuffie's legacy."
Yeah, and the other people would go, "Why does he get a win? He's not even Spider-Man. He's Miles Morales."
Yeah, so either way, people are gonna suck about it.
Yeah. Black Canary versus Sindel. Black Canary.
Who fucking cares?
Black Canary is the hero. She's usually a pretty fun character, but I've not kept up with any of her comics.
Yeah, Black Canary herself is cool, but by Sindel being there, I've immediately lost 70% of the interest, at least by default.
Like, I know that Sindel is often portrayed as, super powerful these days, but at the same time, just shut the hell up. Sindel's not winning this.
It's like, yeah, she might be super powerful, but she's also Sindel. Who cares?
Let me say it again. There is a 1 in 12 chance that Black Canary fights Sindel on the good day.
No bitch-ass 1 in 12 chance.
Leonardo
yeah, Black
versus,
Canary probably wins.
Not Jason Lee Scott versus Captain Marvelous, based on that image.
Well, let me tell you who Leonardo would not beat in a fight is Captain Marvelous.
Yeah, no shit. Oh, it would probably be in that case the anime Leonardo that fights him. But that's not gonna.
Even still, he's not winning that fight.
He would need the dragon to make me believe that in a crossover he might take any sort of W in this situation.
But yeah, against Jason, well, they have crossed over. They have had skirmishes, but not outright fights.
There's never been a winner. I don't remember.
There's never been a winner, but I feel like I feel like the outcome might be Jason, just because Power Rangers are a little stronger than Turtles. But I feel like there would be a point later, like there is in the crossover, where it's they're in need of specific ninja things that the Rangers themselves don't do.
It would absolutely be a team battle. And a team battle, I could see the Turtles being portrayed as... I could see either the Turtles being portrayed as better because there's less of them, so they got to be a little bit better to not be outmatched, or they play into them being outnumbered. And that's the main reason that the Turtles lose or end up being on the back foot, is because there's just less of them.
Yeah. Well, because, realistically, even in, an equalized setting, they're outnumbered, they're outgunned. The Rangers, for some reason, the second anyone becomes a Power Ranger, it doesn't matter how much skill they have in martial arts, are immediately, the greatest fighters on the planet, with or without a weapon. And that's not even counting the fact that Jason and Trini actively practice martial arts outside of school, and Zach. And that at any given point, Tommy could also just show up and be like, "Hey, what's up, guys? I'm deciding to join the fight too, even though it's already 5 against 4."
Yep. It's also
that was such a funny thing.
This isn't a Leonardo that actually
watching Mighty Morphin, and they would be doing some shit, and then they're on the back foot, and Tommy would be like, "I'm finally here, guys. Sorry, I was sitting under a waterfall whittling a flute." And it's like, "Oh, cool. Not gonna ask why, just help."
I'm trying to think, if it was an individual, specifically Leonardo, 87 is losing that. 2003, I could see them being, willing to give him the win, because he is, of the Leos, probably the one most portrayed as the best of the best. 2012 also, I think, has an argument, but I feel like with the overall, more silly nature of that show, that they would probably be more willing to play into him losing. Rise is not that guy. The live-action one's not doing anything. Next Mutation one, I mean, we already know what.
Well, the live-action one is the one that fucking has crossed over with Power Rangers.
No. I meant the movies, not the Next Mutation.
Oh, okay.
I meant the original film trilogy. And the Michael Bay one, who cares? No one asked. I've not seen Mutant Mayhem.
Live is the fucking Michael Bay ones versus 2017 Power Rangers.
That's my pull on that. Genos versus War Machine. Now, let's be clear.
Genos isn't winning.
The Genos losing everything meme is not entirely accurate. At the same time, he is losing this one very badly too. I'm just gonna be honest. He's gonna do a good bit of damage.
It's not entirely accurate, but it's not unfounded either.
It's definitely more of a season 1 thing though, because like if you just watch season 2, you notice Genos doesn't do nearly as badly, and in the manga and webcomic, he loses the fights against like the big players, but really just the big players. At a certain point, he starts winning a lot of his other fights. War Machine's not one of them, though. War Machine's not one of those fights. He's not winning that one. He's going to do good damage to one of War Machine's armors, and the War Machine's going to bust out one of the ones that is basically just Machine Dramon, or Gundramon, and just take Genos out.
Pull out one of them that could just make hard light constructs and make a hard light Saitama to beat the shit out of him.
Make a highlight Carnage Kabuto, and Genos just gives up.
PTSD.
Alright. Gray versus Esdeath. I don't care. But I think Gray would.
I don't either. I feel like Gray would, because... I feel like
in an actual story, Gray would do really good, lose, and then Natsu would show up and win.
Yeah. I feel like Gray, not only would he be the hero in the scenario, obviously, but I feel like, just in general, him having something to fight for other than a lust over someone that's probably illegal to be with, because fuck you, Esdeath, you're weird and non-coded.
Sure, but Tatsumi probably is underage. They've never explicitly stated, I don't think, but the implication...
Even if he isn't, she's really gross and weird.
Oh, she's still gross and weird. But then, you know, she's a dominatrix, so a bunch of people just forgive her for that.
Where it's like, you know...
She is a very,
I feel like Gray's got a lot more going for him as a person and as a fighter than Esdeath does.
I will say Esdeath is a very Rina-coded character, if you know what I mean.
Well, no, because Rina's a tsundere. Esdeath is absolutely a yandere.
Yeah, but, like, in the sense that, you know, Rina's gonna want someone to... You know what, let's not go this far, but Esdeath would step on you. I think that if...
Rina, get in the comments. What do you think about that?
If we weren't going to entertain the idea of Natsu showing up and stealing the win, if it had to be just these two, no other characters, Gray's winning. And a lot of that is going to come down to Esdeath's going to overwhelm him, but they're going to play into Ice Devil Slayer and say that at that point, literally nothing Esdeath does is going to work. Because with the exception of God Slayers and God slaying magic,
she's gonna freeze time, and then his ice magic's gonna start breaking through it like Natsu's did.
Yeah, I genuinely think, with the exception of God Slayer magic, usually Dragon Slayers and, by extension, Gray here as a Devil Slayer are portrayed as pretty much completely immune to the thing that's going against them, even if the character hitting them is much more powerful. And I think Gray would just vore all of Esdeath's attacks. She would use Ice Storm.
Oh, you don't have to word it like that.
She would use Ice Storm, and he would go yummy yummy and just eat the whole thing. And Esdeath would just say, "What the fuck? Hold on. That's not allowed." And then Gray would just punch her in the face and she would die. Well, no, she wouldn't. She'd get knocked out, and then he'd give her a speech on friendship, and then she would say, "You know what? Friendship is actually for losers," and he would freeze her.
Ice make prison sentence.
Ice make jail for the woman who likes the jail bait. Alright, Goro versus Machamp. There is no... Okay, I was going to say there's no world where Goro loses to a random Machamp. At the same time, there is no world where they use original timeline Goro. In other words, there is every world where Goro can fucking lose this one. That's really sad that this could actually come down to a debate in this context, because original
kind
timeline...
of the whole bit with NRS era Goro is just that he's washed up.
Original timeline Goro would kick the living shit out of an average Machamp. And I think the animated movie Goro, and potentially even the original live-action movie Goro, who are portrayed as pretty unstoppable until one guy who happens to be able to stop him shows up, would also do pretty damn good against a Machamp. But current Goro, NRS Goro, my man can't win a fight against fucking anything. I would be surprised if he could take a Joltik one-on-one, let alone a Machamp.
So we're gonna say Machamp would probably win.
I do think, because like think about how Machamp is often portrayed. He is portrayed as like one of the heavy hitters of the fighting type Pokemon.
Mm.
Like how many fighting types are often portrayed as like superior to Machamp? Urshifu?
Fuck, I'm trying to. Grimmsnarl, I think. Grimmsnarl's hair, I think, is said to be able to match Machamp's muscles.
Yeah.
But that's not a fighting type.
That's not fighting type, yeah. I think Urshifu is the main one that comes to mind for a fighting type that, and of course fighting plate Arceus, but you'd be an idiot to include that.
Fighting plate Silvally, so fuck you.
Yeah, that would also probably surpass him, but that would also be stupid. I'm just trying to think. Hariyama, I guess, is probably portrayed as... I feel like Hariyama's probably portrayed as able to take on a Machamp, if not actually beat one.
Well, see, the difference is Machamp has statements about launching people over the horizon or fucking pushing mountains. Hariyama has statements about fucking pushing a train.
To be fair, he is as strong as a G-Max Butterfree.
What kind of fucking frame of reference is that? What does that mean?
He's as strong as a big thing.
As a big old butterfly.
Could you take a G-Max Butterfree? I don't know about that one, champ.
I might. Give me some bug spray.
You know. In the comments, tell me what fighting types are often portrayed as on the level of Machamp, except for Urshifu and the fighting type plated legendaries, which don't count. That also includes.
I wonder by the end of this, video, how many things we're gonna have them.
Leave it in the comments below, everyone.
Yeah. Leave it in the comments below. Engagement bait. Engagement bait.
Cable versus Booster Gold. I feel like the death battle would have people thinking that Booster Gold would get absolutely swamped in context, but Booster Gold, for as much of a joke as he can be portrayed, is also often portrayed as genuinely able to kind of keep up with things on a higher level than Cable. To give him his fair due, he does take on things that are very strong, and while he doesn't often do much to them, they often don't do much to him except physically move him. I mean, he got
Note that he did not die when Doomsday came to Earth.
Yeah, I will note that Doomsday wailed on him after his shield was broken, and Booster Gold just lived. He just survived.
You know who didn't? Superman.
Superman, yeah. I mean, to be fair, Doomsday did hit Superman a lot more. At the same time, I just like that Doomsday walks up, he punches Martian Manhunter, and he punches Booster Gold, and the one who gets up first is Booster Gold, and Booster Gold's not got his shield on. What an interesting story. I do like it, but it's... I mean, he is also the guy who named Doomsday. Like, that's so weird to think. Booster Gold named Doomsday.
Yeah. Ooh, terrific!
I honestly do feel like Booster would win in the end, but Cable would be absolutely in control of that fight the whole way through.
Probably.
Yeah, like Cable would be fucking flopping around Booster Gold like a dead fish, and Booster would only eventually get some sort of plan. He'd use his little buddies, and by that I really just mean the one. He would use his like ship. People probably have that in an actual crossover, and his tech to like incapacitate Cable and be like, haha, I planned this all along.
Did the death battle mention Booster Gold's little fucking robot thing?
No. I'm trying to think. No.
Because you'd think he'd be there. You think he'd be.
I'm pretty sure there was not a single mention of Skeets the whole way through. We got to wait for Skeets versus Herbie for that one.
Because before that death battle, I had heard of Skeets because I played Scribblenauts Unmasked.
I had heard of Skeets because I was a fan of Booster Gold, but...
Yeah, well, you're a nerd, so...
Yeah. But imagine Skeets versus Herbie, the Fantastic Four one, not the Love Bug.
Oh.
The one that could actually
imagine all three.
Fight. I imagine Herbie's got some equipment that could do something.
Probably.
It's a very not death battle coded matchup. They're literally inanimate objects from Marvel and DC. So I do think
Yeah, from
Booster
the
Gold...
creator of fucking Pen versus Pencil.
It's me! I do think Booster Gold will win, but I think it would be one of those fights where, like, did he really? He was getting his ass kicked the whole fight. If anything, he lucked out at the end, sort of deal. That would be how it's portrayed, I think. Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Kakashi Hatake.
I feel like Kakashi is generally portrayed as less of a fuck up because it feels like a lot of the stuff that happened to Kakashi in his lifetime is kind of out of his control. Meanwhile, like,
yeah, but Obi-Wan's not a
I don't know,
as a
especially in the Disney timeline of things, it feels like fucking everything Obi-Wan ever did, he managed to screw up somehow.
Yeah, even his girlfriend. In both ways. The way I see it, I mean, this is Legends Obi-Wan primarily, but Obi-Wan's fuck-ups aren't as a fighter. As a fighter, he is considered like one of the 3 Jedi, I think, that could have taken Grievous on in a fight, with the others being Yoda and Windu. Like, they're the 3 Jedi that could have beaten Grievous one-on-one, I think is generally how it's portrayed in Legends. Is Kakashi, like, I don't think they ever went like, oh, Kakashi's like one of the only guys who could take fucking...
He was one of the only people that helped fight Kaguya.
Yeah, but like, Obi-Wan could also help fight Palpatine pretty easily. Doesn't mean he'd win, but he could do it. Just like Kakashi probably wouldn't win a one-on-one against Kaguya. Definitely wouldn't win. Very few in Naruto would.
I wonder, yeah, Naruto would, because I think it's been outright stated as of the novels that Naruto is at a point where he's more or less on Kaguya's level. Kakashi still isn't at Naruto's level exactly, but he is stronger than he was at the end of Shippuden because he doesn't have Sharingans constantly sucking chakra out of his head.
At the same time, that's not really, like, I don't think that would play into this. I think this, in this crossover, this fight absolutely is not one that's going to reach a conclusion at all. But I don't think they would portray anything Kakashi does as really able to touch a lightsaber. I don't think the little lightning kunai is going to be portrayed as able to match a lightsaber.
I don't know, man. It might.
I think that the lightsaber would go straight through the kunai. Kakashi would look at it and think, "What was I thinking with that? What was that meant to do?" I think
it'd be funny if Kakashi fucking summoned his ninja dogs to pin Obi-Wan down.
Yeah.
I've always liked the ninja dogs. I wish they got used more.
At the same time, to be fair, Naruto is generally portrayed on a higher level than Star Wars tends to be. I don't know who'd win this one. I don't really think a call can be made here because it might just come down to the fact that Obi-Wan is definitely getting top billing.
It might, yeah.
I'll just put in correct to upset people, and so I can put that in the thumbnail to really upset people.
Based.
Yeah. Danny versus Jake. Who gives a shit? Danny's winning. Moving on.
Yeah. Yeah.
She-Ra versus Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
Yep. Beerus versus Galaxia. Now, this one I think is going to come down to a very simple fact. Galaxia has fucking lost a fight. Beerus, he's not beaten Whis.
Beerus is strong enough that even gag characters can't do anything to him.
Like, he is the guy, you know?
Where, like, gag characters show up and Vegeta's like, oh no, we're never gonna be able to win, they've got cartoon powers, and Beerus is like, do I look like I give a shit? I've got things to do today, goodbye.
Yeah, Galaxia is, to my knowledge, just outright beaten in a fight, and that's how her story ends. Beerus, as of yet, has not lost a fight, really. The only character that can take him out that has is Whis, and that's not really a fair comparison.
Yeah, because that's kind of the point of Whis existing, is so
That,
that there is someone who can reign in Beerus.
yeah, he is the gag character that works on Beerus, because the gag is that he beats up Beerus when Beerus goes too far.
The gag is that he wins.
That is the joke. He is the Saitama of Dragon Ball, if you ignore everyone else that's stronger than him. All one of them.
Yeah. Some of the angels, I'm sure, could be argued.
Sorry, all two of them. That we can confirm. Unless you count both Zenos, in which case all three of them.
I would say the Zenos, the Grand Priest, maybe Vados. We're not really sure. I think Vados is older than him, at least.
Vados is ambiguous. Like it's a case of like if they fought, you could probably believe either one winning. But the only characters you could say certainly would kick Whis' ass are the Grand Priest and the Zenos.
We don't really know what those two tall guys next to the Zenos are capable of.
Yeah, well, no one thinks about them. Beerus wins this. Zuko versus Todoroki.
They're like, hey, Goku, stop being silly around Zeno. And Zeno's like, no, let him be silly. Yeah, well, even when a blast almost hits Zeno, it's the Grand Priest that puts up a shield, not those guys. What do they even do?
Talk. They tell.
Do they just help Zeno get up to high places he can't reach because he's short?
They're the guys who tell people to stop being silly. That's what they do. That's their thing.
They're there to be tall for them.
Yeah. Zuko versus Todoroki.
Probably Todoroki, just because, like, fucking My Hero loves to gas up Todoroki as, like, the fucking coolest, most important guy ever. Meanwhile, in Avatar, you know, Zuko's impressive, but Zuko's not even, like, the craziest firebender. Like,
he's not even.
Azula was, like,
in
outright
the cartoon itself,
better.
He's not even top 3.
Yeah.
Azula, Iroh, and Ozai all surpass him. Nowadays, he is probably the strongest. Well, no, nowadays, I think he's probably dead. Nowadays, you go a little bit further from Korra onwards, he's just gonna die of old age. He's just gonna keel over. But at his best, he probably was the strongest firebender at some point during his life. He was the strongest one around, I'm willing to say. Because, you know, Ozai wasn't. He lost that power. He definitely trained to a point above where he got above Azula, who wasn't training any further. And Iroh, I just think, wouldn't have kept up. He would have just let age take him, because he would be happier being weak and peaceful over strong and warring. So I think there would have come a point where, not really by any merit of his own, but more by merit of everyone else falling behind, that Zuko would have become the strongest firebender. In that regard, a crossover would use cartoon era Zuko, not adult Zuko. And Todoroki.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
he's also
Todoroki is more or less Endeavor's equal in firepower at this point, and has surpassed his siblings and his mother in ice power. And, like, really the only comparable fire user to him is Dabi, whose fire is outright superior, but that Todoroki is able to withstand and kind of fight back.
I'm just trying to think who even, like, is generally portrayed as on Todoroki's level without massively surpassing him. Is like Bakugo the only guy who is in that tier without, and Bakugo and Endeavor the only guys in that tier who aren't like All Might level and above?
Bakugo's getting pretty close
to Todoroki.
He just recently had like to All Might at this point, where it's like Bakugo's not quite to All Might's level, like, but it feels like he's on the verge of being there because he's had like an awakening to his powers recently.
Cool. Now he's become Oppenheimer.
Kinda.
Yeah, Bakugo Oppenheimer. I do think Todoroki will probably win because Todoroki's more often portrayed as the I'd win guy, just without the part where he loses, and Zuko is portrayed as
there's a point where when Bakugo's like new power is being unlocked, it's like, if there, in that moment there was one thing going through his bloodstream, a small bead of sweat, and I just thought to myself, what? What do you mean a bead of sweat was going through his blood? What?
That's a concern. He could genuinely die from that. That's not supposed to be in his bloodstream.
It's like, what the fuck? That doesn't make sense.
All right, we have.
I'm like, your sweat glands are on your outermost layer of skin. Yeah. Your blood's quite a couple layers down under. That doesn't make sense. That's dumb.
We have Wally West versus Archie Sonic. Now, there's two ways to look at this, which is how would they go if they were portrayed as their very best, and on average. On average, I think Wally would just smack Archie Sonic up, and we're assuming, like,
Probably.
post, like, before Archie Sonic got weaker, if that even is considered a thing anymore, because, like, when I was reading post Super Genesis Wave, I never felt like Archie Sonic was weaker than he used to be, but Wally would smack him up on average, because Wally is pretty consistently portrayed as really fucking impressive. And while Archie Sonic is too, he takes a lot more, like, L's. Well, like, Wally takes L's, but it's always stuff that feels really out of place. While with Sonic, it feels a lot more believable. If you take them at their best, though, you're going with, like, full-on Ultra Sonic versus unmoored Wally West. In which case, what's generally portrayed as more impressive? The Speed Force or the Chaos, like, Force, if it's called that? I don't remember.
It's literally impossible to quantify either of them, according to the comics and the narrative themselves.
So, I probably feel the thing, though, is that Ultrasonic relies on the power of the Chaos Force. Unmoored Wally West is just better than the whole Speed Force. Like, he's just
I feel like it might just come down to Sonic's super forms getting timed out.
Yeah, that's a very like good way to put it, I think, too. Yeah, it's a good point. I think Wally would win. I think he would win. If you take them at their worst, they're both going to get taken out by a strong gust of wind, though. So, and obviously, if you're taking one of them at their worst and the other one not at their worst, then you're an idiot. The boys, I mean, the 7 Battle Royale, yeah, Homelander would win. End of story. Moving on. The order I don't agree with. I don't think they would ever have Billy actually take out most of the 7 on his own, really. But the fact that Homelander in the end would win, yeah, no shit. Winter Soldier versus Red Hood. Oh, boy. Probably.
I feel like by the same merit, you could say Batman would beat Captain America because he's Batman. Red Hood would beat Winter Soldier because he's Red Hood.
Yeah, at the same time, Winter Soldier is a bigger name than Red Hood.
Is he? I guess the MCU.
The MCU, yeah. What's Red Hood been in recently? Injustice? Some comics and some video games that no one really likes?
I mean, people read Red Hood comics. He definitely does have his fans. I would know. I have to. One of my best friends is a big Red Hood fan.
I just feel like Winter Soldier's the bigger name, so the whole, like, he's Batman thing wouldn't pan out. It is very funny to note that if you were to clash their strongest items against each other, it would be Winter Soldier punching him in the face. So that's very amusing to imagine. The meeting of the minds here.
Master Hand versus Polygon Man moment.
Basically, yeah. I feel like they would give the win to Bucky, because they wouldn't give Jason the Venom, I don't think. If they did, then they would probably give Jason the win while having Bucky completely flop him around before he used the Venom, but I don't think he'd get it. I think that Bucky would win, and Jason would just get out of there with, like, some smoke bomb or something, or just by being the Batman thing. He does the Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Why does his helmet...
I love how fucking irritated it always makes characters whenever any member of the Bat family just disappears mid-conversation. They're like, fuck. They're like, I still don't understand how they do it, and it's annoying every time because it's when I'm in the middle of doing something.
There's literally a comic where a guy doesn't even look away from Batman when he does it. Batman just does it while he's staring straight at him. And he's just like, huh? What? What? Nothing gets in the way.
Fucking Michael Myers shit.
Yeah, basically. I could imagine this ending with, like, Bucky beats the living shit out of Jason. Jason gets a couple good licks in. He, like, smacks Jason across a room. And then while Bucky is doing his slow, dramatic walk-up, Jason just vanishes. And Bucky looks around, just confused. It says, like, what the fuck happened? Did I miss something? Huh? Am I crazy?
A little bit.
He is a little bit. Venom versus Krona.
Venom.
Yeah, they would give the win. Krona would be going like all cuckoo bananas, and Venom would be like, "You should really settle down," and then just beat Krona into submission.
You should go to therapy. It has helped me a lot. Try our sponsor BetterHelp.
Yeah. That's
Eddie, do the ad read.
This video is sponsored by Sablewolf versus John Talbane. I feel like it would just be more satisfying if John won that one. Yeah. You can't even argue bigger name here because, honestly, Darkstalkers, Killer Instinct, far from relevant. Both have, like, enough games together, combined, that you could count them on both your hands.
What, 3 each?
Yeah. And you barely need more than one hand to count their combined games that are actually unique games. And I just, like, Sablewolf would be, like, the antagonistic force here.
Yeah.
Reds versus Blues.
John would just beat the shit out of him.
The Blues would win outright. Just, it wouldn't even be a competition. Like, if they were both taken at their best, both sent to fight, what are the Reds gonna do? They're the goofy gag guys who don't die but also don't do anything plot relevant. The Blues are the guys who will do something plot relevant, kick a lot of ass, and then die. You take them at their best.
The Blues also have members that actually enjoy each other's company.
I mean, the Reds enjoy each other's company too. They're just a lot more tsundere about it. The thing is, like, the Blues have Tex, and, like, just on her own, she's going to take out most of the Reds. And Tucker would probably be portrayed as able to... He would just be 1v1 by Lopez, I think, like they did in the actual episode. That's probably how Tucker would be dealt with. But I think Tex on her own would just do most of the work. Batgirl versus Spider-Gwen. Nowadays, the top billing is going to Gwen. Back in the day, before Spider-Verse existed, Batgirl would absolutely get top billing. But nowadays, it's definitely Spider-Gwen. And, I mean, like, Spider-Gwen would just be like, you know, I want to fight, but first, can I watch your movie? And Batgirl would just die on the spot. Just gone. And I think, like, Batgirl's never really portrayed as, like, that Batman level. While Spider-Gwen is generally portrayed as, like, Peter level. She fought an army of Dr. Otto Octavius and, like, she didn't lose that fight. Alright, this one's a you moment. Your favorite episode. Rock Lee versus Sanjay.
I feel like Sanji would definitely end up coming out on top just because Sanji to this day is one of the most important players in name an arc that the Straw Hats are in. Meanwhile, Rock Lee has not been that relevant since part 1 of Naruto. As
Name
much
a
as
fight
it pains
that
me
Rock
to
Lee
say.
has won. There's like, how many others? One? He beat Sasuke.
He beat Sasuke and he beat himself.
Yeah, I mean, most men can do that.
Team Guy versus Team Guy, the fight of all time. He beat a meteor.
Yeah, most people can kick a rock.
I feel like that's not the same thing. I feel like it's not.
You know how many people have died from meteor in real life? 1. You know how many people have died from choking on food? A lot more than 1, so Sanji wins.
That's true. But yeah, Sanji definitely, I think, would win.
I just think, like, the thing is, Rock Lee, when does he do anything that matters? I'm sorry, Rock Lee, I do love you, but, mate, you got done dirty. Hulk versus Broly. Okay, if this was Z Broly, Hulk go all the way, no question. Hulk would be the winner. Because Z Broly is a monster, but he also would be the antagonist. And he would probably, like, mop Hulk around for a while until Hulk got so angry that he just caught one of Broly's punches. And you get a look of Z Broly going, that's not supposed to happen. That's a little weird, that one. And then Hulk would just fucking lay him out. Super Broly, I think, is more of a question. Because while he would still
See,
probably...
it's funny, because that's more or less what happened in the first Z Broly movie, is Broly kicking the shit out of everyone until Goku decided he'd win.
Yeah. Super Broly, I think... The thing is, he would still probably, most of the time, be the end... I don't even know. It's just as likely that the story is set up as Broly's, like, just lost it or something. As much as... If anything, it's probably even more likely that it's just Hulk lost it and is on a rampage. And Broly's just
Especially
there.
because, like, the most recent thing we've seen from Broly is him actually starting to get a hang of Super Saiyan.
I think what they would likely do, Broly is just hanging out with Goku and Vegeta at the mall or something, because it'd be really funny just to see that image. Just all three in casual clothing, and then Hulk just busts through, pissed off his rocker, and Goku and Vegeta are ready to do something, but Broly acts first, because he sees someone in trouble, and he's like, I'm Broly, I'm the nice one, and he jumps in to save them, and Broly's the one who gets the fight.
His catchphrase.
And that's him, yeah. I'm Broly, I save things. And then Goku's like, should we help? And Vegeta's like, no, we have to let Broly do this for his Saiyan pride. And then that would be the reason they don't do anything. In which case...
He's like, Vegeta, I'm gonna be real. I think Broly kind of barely knows what a Saiyan is. He didn't even see other people till he was like 45.
I want to watch this. I'm entertained. This is
Okay,
really
fair
cool.
enough.
Do you not see how sick this looks? Oh, it's so cool.
It is pretty cool.
Tell my wife to get the camcorder.
I'm not gonna do that.
Why not?
I don't wanna. I wanna stay here and watch the fight.
That's fair enough, Kakarot. Then
I think Hulk would kick the crap out of base Broly, like, very convincingly, and then Broly would go straight to... He would skip Ozari. He'd go straight to Super Saiyan, and then it would be a lot more even. And then Hulk would eventually get angry enough that he starts surpassing Super Saiyan, and then Broly just goes full power Super Saiyan, or what most people call Legendary Super Saiyan, and then he would close the gap again, at which point, who wins? It might literally just be that, like, Broly beats Hulk down until Hulk loses his anger, and then hopefully Broly can get, like, retain some control, or maybe they both beat each other down until they both regain some control, and they both just...
There was a cricket on the wall that had disappeared.
Sick, I love cricket. And then they both just...
I don't.
I imagine they both beat each other down to their huffing and puffing, and they mutually regain control of their anger, and just shrink back down. More so in Hulk's case. Broly, he shrinks down, but, like, you know, it's still kind of just beefcake mode all the time. He's not Z Broly. He doesn't start as a skinny little man. I mean, little. Skinny, tall man.
Yeah, Broly by default's still, like, fucking 7 feet tall.
Like, I think it would be nice, like, to see, like, Banner calm down after the Hulk fight, thanking Broly, and, you know, Broly's like, yeah, of course, man. Yeah, no worries. It's all cool. You're not gonna smash anything anymore? And Banner's like, I fucking hope not. Lord fucking knows, I don't wanna. I got so many better things to do tonight than punch some cars and then get the shit kicked out of me by my best friends. You know, I got
See,
so many
because it's like
better things to be doing.
Recent comics have been portraying Banner as more of the villain than the Hulk, because like the revelation that the Hulk, being a manifestation of his original imaginary friend, just wants to protect Banner, and then Banner being like, I want fuck all to do with you. I do not want anything to do with the Hulk. I am going to try to kill this alternate personality if I can.
Yeah. And in the scenario I laid out, who would you even say won that? I genuinely think that is the most reasonable scenario. At the same time, we are trying to avoid, like, moments where they both win, or they both lose, win, draw. In which case, in the scenario laid out, that I do think is the most reasonable for a crossover.
I think I could most likely see Hulk winning.
Yeah. I could see Hulk... Like, Broly beats Hulk down a lot, but Hulk ends up winning, but he's so worn out that instead of dealing like a finishing blow, Banner's able to like regain some manner of control, and he's able to calm Hulk down a bit, and they shrink back down. In which case, Hulk won the fight, but technically Broly's the one with the advantage by the end. Because Hulk's normal now, and Broly's, you know, he's always Broly. He's never not Broly. First off, he is Broly, and second off, Hulk is not Broly. And he'll never be Broly. That's
because Broly's Broly.
Yeah, Broly's Broly. So, in that situation, I would say incorrect, because Hulk would win. At the same time, I think it would not be portrayed as like a big deal that Broly lost. I think it would be a case of like, bro, like they're like, wow, you're really strong, green guy. And Banner's like, yeah, I fucking know, you know, it's just so fucking great to be so fucking strong. Which is like, yeah, I know it, isn't it, right? It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like the narrative like conclusion would be that the Hulk won because he's got more or less the same powers Broly does, but has a better grasp on them.
Also, he just continuously gets stronger, and that's emphasized more with Hulk than it is for Broly. Like, Broly, it is emphasized, but he does just straight up take that L to Gogeta. He just cannot get up to Gogeta's level once Gogeta goes blue. Hulk, he just keeps going. It takes someone like Sentry, and Sentry is, you know, Sentry Zeus there, they're not, Gogeta's not quite portrayed as, like, the Sentry Zeus sort of deal. Like, he is up there. Gogeta is up there. But he's not portrayed as the guy that shows up, and then literally no matter what the opponent is, in any context, he's going to win. Because there's plenty of times in Heroes where he doesn't.
There's also that time in GT where he didn't.
Yeah. So, I think Hulk would win. I don't think it would be a washout. I think it would be close, and I think they would end as friends. I mean, Banner and Broly would. Hulk would probably not. I mean, Hulk would probably respect Broly.
Like, Broly smash good. Hulk smash better. But Broly still smash good.
Speaking of green...
What's the next matchup?
Speaking of green, Yoda versus King Mikey.
Mickey.
Mikey card.
Hot dog! Want to see the power of Disney pushing?
Yeah, I mean, Mickey would win.
Because it's like, especially because like that crossover would be entirely under Disney. It's like, in what world do they not make Mickey win against fucking Yoda?
To be fair, in what world do Mickey and Yoda fight and not just be like working together from the start?
Yoda shows up. He's like, learn the Force, you must. And Mickey's like, what the fuck? What is that? Is that a leprechaun?
Is Darth Vader who's going to show up and be like, you will do as I say. And Mickey's just going to be like, no. And then kick his ass.
Oh, gosh, pal. You can ask a little more nicely.
I've lost to a rodent. If any of you stormtroopers tell Sheev, I will kill you. And your families. Just gonna lay that down right now. Alright.
Shadow versus Ryuko. So again, Shadow's not going to get super if this was an actual crossover, I don't think. And at the same time, Ryuko's not going to get Ryuko's not going to get Super Saiyan either. Neither of those things are happening in a crossover.
I don't think Shadow would need it. I think Shadow would just win because Ryuko, I think, gets her ass handed to her a lot more.
Yeah. I'm just laying it out. What's it called? Senketsu, like, YOLO mode, piss mode, is...
Fuck, I don't remember. Like, it was something boring.
I'm trying to...
Look it up.
Don't look it up! Is it Kisaragi?
I think so.
Yeah, don't look it up. Don't look it up. Tell us in the comments if I'm correct. Oh, you tell me in the... Just tell me in the comments. Is it Kisaragi? Tell me, Rena, I know you're watching!
It is Kisaragi.
Shut the fuck up, Don. So yeah, Kisaragi's not coming in, and neither is Super Shadow. That said, I think Shadow would mop the floor with Ryuko, and they would play it up for laughs. And Ryuko would get good hits in. Like, there would be a few points where she just thumps Shadow and just launches him, propels him like a fucking rocket halfway across the city they're fighting. Shadow's gonna get up and go, whoa, that was not the coolest. He's not going to pull out a gun, though. He's never going to get to use that. Just like in the death battle, except, you know, he wouldn't pull it out in the first place.
I can imagine her activating like the entire Senjin Shipu, and then she starts flying towards him. He just uses chaos control, moves out of the way, and she hits a wall.
I can see his reaction, like, "Oh, what the fuck? The chaos control!" Just like, I genuinely take it back. He's like, "Well, I was not expecting that one." Then just takes like 3 steps to the right.
I didn't think she would suddenly become knives and also a rocket.
Just takes 3 steps to the right. Doesn't even kick her in the back of the head. He just like lets her fly straight into a wall. She wouldn't even go through it. They would have her like just crash into it as if she couldn't plow through it and then just slide straight down.
He moves and then she flies straight into the building, and then he just follows it up with a chaos spear as he's turning back to face her. Just like, ow.
Ow. Ow! Dude! The wall wasn't enough, huh? No. I would
Maria.
I would have liked to see him use the gun in the death battle. I'm going to be honest. I think it would have been real. Like, I genuinely think people think it's really funny. He pulled out a gun, haha, and he throws it away. No, it would have been funnier if he just shot her in the head. She just collapsed, and then she just got back up anyway. Because like, what's that going to do to her?
It'd be funnier if he shot her, if he tried to shoot her in the head, and then that little red streak of hair just fucking cut the bullet in half. Because, have you seen Kill la Kill?
Have I seen Kill la Kill? Yes, I've seen Kill la Kill.
Okay. Do you recall the scene where she's under fucking mind control with like the threads around her brain, and then like the little strand of hair just goes in a circle and then cuts it?
Yeah.
I think that'd be funny.
That would be a funny way to do it. I think it'd also be funny if he just blows her fucking brains out and she just gets back up immediately. Completely unaffected.
Fucking, it's like the Kochikame Dragon Ball crossover where Frieza keeps fucking destroying Ryota, so he just keeps getting back up.
Yes.
He's like, listen, I don't know who you are or why you're being so mean to me, but you need to be nice to me right now.
I like how that isn't even like the only time that he's done that to Dragon Ball. Like he kind of tries that in J-Stars and in Kyukai Panic 2. Like it literally just starts. It's like, hey, what the fuck are you guys doing? What, can you fucking just stop that? And he's like, nah, I can't. It's great. That's a consistent trait of his. And he crosses over with random characters and just tells them to fucking stop, and they say no, and he says, but do it though. And they can't stop him from saying it. So, Shadow Ryuka, I do think Shadow would just dominate the fight. With the caveat that neither will get their super forms. If they did, though, it is Super Shadow. So, he did kind of help kick the shit out of Solaris. And and Final Hazard. And, you know, Ryuko, she beat up her mom.
She did do that.
Yeah. Alright, Lex versus Doom. To be honest, this is not a matter of who wins, it's a matter of who manages to fumble the W first.
Lex.
Probably Lex, yeah. Yeah.
Because, like, fucking... Doom is the king of fumbling wins, but there is no way to fumble a win worse than fucking literally having the power of God and doing the one thing you're not supposed to do and losing it frame one.
I will also note that Doom likely would have the power Cosmic Siphon that's just built into him. Lex almost certainly is not getting a mother box in an official crossover. No way. He's not getting this formula either. He's not getting any of the Superman forms. He would just get a big green suit that shoots cancer beams. And, you know, Doom would be like, aha, I'm immune to cancer. And Lex will say, no, you son of a bitch. In those words, exactly.
Damn, not here.
Geese versus Heihachi. Now, in the trailer for Geese, in Tekken, he does kick the ever-living shit out of Heihachi and everyone else. At the same time, that is a trailer meant to hype him up, so if he got his ass kicked, that would be a bit weird.
Yeah, I imagine Heihachi would probably win.
Yeah. Because he's older and he's more experienced and he's tougher and he's the guy. And Geese, you know, Geese is the guy that loses a lot.
Yeah. He's the guy that fall off the building.
Blake versus Mikasa. So, it should be noted, that, especially nowadays, Blake, her portrayal is she can keep up in a fight. She is codependent on Yang to get anything done. Mikasa is him, but female. She is the she's her character. She can do it. If you can't do it, she can do it. And if you can do it, she can also do it, but better than you can. That's who she is. Basically. So I just don't think Blake's got this one. She's not got it. This is not in her bag. She's rummaging through her thousands of books, and she can't find a single one that tells her how to get the W against Mikasa.
Yeah, sidetrack for a second. I'm looking at a jump crossover called Jumputi, and there's a handful of units in the game that are like crossovers between two characters, where you've got some that make sense, like Yusuke and Gon, Killua and Hiei, because like Tagashi's guys, and then you've got like Yuma from Hell's Paradise and Bakugo, because they got their fire or whatever. Yeah, Goku and Luffy, and then you've got Deku and Yuichi from World Trigger, which, first of all, I don't know the first thing about World Trigger, so maybe that makes some kind of sense, but like, you'd think they'd pair Deku with someone like Naruto, or like
who is
fucking
Naruto?
Any other huge hitter. Boruto.
Who is Naruto paired with?
Boruto.
No, I'm asking who is he paired with, not who Deku could be paired with.
No, Naruto's with Boruto.
That is the most fucking boring possible option. What about Ichigo?
Yeah. Ichigo's not in one of the pairs. The pairs are Naruto and Boruto, Goku and Luffy, Deku and Jin Yuichi from World Trigger, Yuma and Bakugo, Yusuke and Gon, Killua and Hiei, Eve and Yami, I think both from fucking Black Cat or something like that. I think that's what the manga's called that they're from. I could be completely wrong. And then Nihiro Nogami from fucking what the hell is that one called? The Brain something. It's the guy leads like a detective agent. He's in J-Stars, the guy that leads like a detective agency.
Is he?
Where he's got like the fucked up claw hand, and he's got like yellow hair with. Yeah.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. I used him for a while. Oh god, what's his fucking name?
His name is Nihiro Nogami. No, not Nube.
No, the other one.
This guy has a claw. He's got blonde hair with like green bangs. I know in J-Stars, in like the like story mode, you see him in his detective agency.
Is the guy is upside down the whole time? There was a guy that's always upside down.
He might be.
Like every time
God,
they,
I wish I could think of
every time they showed him like his intro, he's like the camera like zooms towards him and flips upside down, so he's not properly aligned.
Let's see.
Is it like Neuro?
Yeah, Nihiro Nogami is his name.
Yeah, I know him. Never read it. Don't care.
Yeah.
It's probably good.
He's paired up with Koro Sensei.
Excellent.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
Blake Mikasa. Wrong. I think Mikasa would win this in a crossover. Mikasa is the one-woman army. Blake is the one-woman arm.
Shit. Yeah, that's a way to put it.
She is just an arm for Yang to use to help her out. Blake works together with Yang to take out an army of Grimm. Mikasa works on her own to take out like several titans. That's the gap we're looking at here, in terms of how they're portrayed.
Oh yeah, how many titans have you taken out?
I mean, I also should note, Mikasa's like right arm has more muscle on it than Yang's entire body, so that's also worth noting.
Oh, Dragon Ball gets a couple pairings. It gets Goku and Vegeta and Trunks and Vegeta. And that's it.
Okay, we're going to Iron Fist versus Poe. I'm not even going to acknowledge that. Iron Fist versus Poe. Poe's winning. Like, he is the hero. He is the guy. Iron Fist, he is most famous for a Netflix show that nobody likes.
Unfortunately.
Pardon you. Steven Universe versus Star Butterfly. I don't know. I don't fucking know them either at all.
No,
you me.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, well, think better.
Probably Steven, just because well, I mean, Star is a lot more confrontational, but I feel like Steven's powers would allow him to de-escalate the situation a lot better.
Okay. I don't really know either.
I feel like
can't really say anything.
At the very least, in a crossover, he'd be able to get the fight to stop.
Yeah, I guess I'll do incorrect for that. I think I said for Link Cloud I was going to put both of them incorrect, because of just the state of that matchup, so I'm just going to do that. Batman versus Iron Man. Oh, I mean, first of all, in an actual crossover, we're not getting God.
I am Vegeta.
We are getting Batman as Batman, and Iron Man in the modular armor. If we got Hellbat and Godbuster, I'm just going to be honest, the Hellbat is going to come out ahead. Because while Tony's got some impressive suits, aside from the big God Killer Mark II, none of them get the level of hype the Hellbat does. To my memory, the Godbuster is strong as fuck, but it's never treated as like, this is the thing that can win the fight. This is the end of the story. Nothing beats this. The Hellbat is treated as the be-all, end-all, nothing matters when the Hellbat's there. The Hellbat's gonna do everything for you. And the final Batsuit is also treated as like, it could take on the whole Justice League solo and win sort of deal. The Godbuster is very impressive, but none of the scans I've seen for it ever match the level of hype they put into the Hellbat.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a fair assessment.
You sound really quiet.
Sorry, I was leaning forward. I was away from my mic.
How are you leaning forward? Is your mic behind you?
It's to the side of me.
Right. But like, the Godbuster takes out.
I have my laptop in front of me on my bed, and then I have my laptop hooked up to my shelf to the right of me.
Yeah, the thing, like, the Godbuster and the big ass God Killer, like the big ass God Killer is portrayed. Like, the thing is, to get the Godbuster that high, you need to compare it to the God Killer, which is the one that is treated as this thing can take on Celestials and win. Most notably the God Killer 2 that Tony actually has and can use. The God Killer 1 he can't. The big fucking suit that punches Celestials in the face is portrayed as a big deal. Mostly for its self-destruct though, which could take out Celestials. And the reason the Godbuster is put on a pedestal is because it's described as the strongest suit Tony has in a story unconnected to that one. So it relies on context that is not given within the Godbuster story of its own, to my knowledge. While the Hellbat is given the context in its own story of, this is the suit, this is the one that does it. And I think Darkseid is put on a higher pedestal in DC than the random Celestials are in Marvel. Like, Darkseid is where you'd put, like, the close Celestial on a pedestal to Darkseid is, like, what is his name, Exitar or something, the big bad one, and One Above All, the one that is not the One Above All, he's just got that name. What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know.
But Exitar, the one that Thor hit really fucking hard in the head, made a little crack and went, huh.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the exact sound he made. He was like, oh, yeah, I mean, I wasn't going all out. Yeah, I think it's Exitar the Exterminator. He's like the big douchebag one. I assume, tell me in the comments, but the Hellbat is treated as a big deal. The thing is, in an official crossover, we're not getting Hellbat versus anything. We're not getting either. In which case, Iron Man's going to dominate the fight, and Bruce is going to hit him with an EMP that takes the suit out because the author forgot that the suit is immune to those.
Probably.
Yeah, I think Bruce would win, and it would be through means that should not work. Goku Black versus Reverse Flash.
I feel like Reverse Flash is typically portrayed as being a lot more absurd.
Yeah, of the Flashes, Eobard's the one where they play the most into the sheer ludicrousness of the Flash family. In, like, the whole just, like, he can do whatever. If we're talking about their best, I do think it generally just comes down to the fact that, like, Eobard, you kill him, and he'll live. Goku Black, I mean, he could just take the ring off Goku Black.
That's true.
That's what he would do. Zamasu wouldn't even notice. Like, Eobard would just, like, take it off, and it would be off his finger for a couple panels, and people will think that it's just an error with the artwork. Then he's going to punch Goku Black in the chest, the face straight through his chest. And Goku Black's going to be like, you think this will do anything to me? And Eobard will be like, yeah. And then it will.
Sorry, was that important?
No, Oh. You bloody wanker. What?
Give that back. I'm not giving this back. Please? No.
I'm gonna put it on. Now we're married.
I'm gonna take it for myself.
I'm married to an American.
Now you're my husband. Now we're gay lovers. He's like,
no, not to an American. Anything but that. Ah.
Fucking what an idea. Fucking steals a ring, puts it on. Haha, now we're married. No!
Now, Zamasu, if you beat the crap out of me, that's domestic violence. That's checkmate. I think it's correct. I think Eobard would be given the win. Especially because, like, Eobard is the Flash villain. Goku Black is a evil Goku equivalency.
Yeah, not even the he's
one.
Probably the premier example of that subgenre, but he's not even the only one.
You say that, but if we're being honest, in like Xeno and stuff, like outside of the main series, Turles is the one they always default to.
I don't know. Well, both of them got a weird kind of Super Saiyan 3 form.
You know what's funny?
With Super Saiyan 3 Rose with eyebrows and fucking Turles Super Saiyan 3 fruit form.
When I think about why I actually like Turles, I just realize it's just because he's funny. Watching him in Xenoverse is funny. Because he's such a hater of everything. They really play him up in Xenoverse.
I like him because I think just the fights in Tree of Might are pretty cool.
Yeah, the fights are cool. The rest of the movie is kind of just, there. Randall Savage versus Kool-Aid Man. They'd make Randy win. No doubt about it. He would be given the win. There's no question. Dio versus Alucard. This is like the poster boy for death battles where the result is completely incongruent with how it would be in a crossover. There is no world where Dio wins this, because Alucard is portrayed as the unstoppable one. And the whole fight, Dio would just start off as confident as ever. Dio, can you stop looking at me? I'm not calling for you. Dio would be portrayed as, like, really cocky, and then just slowly break down into hysterics as nothing works.
Is that what your dog is called?
Yes. Not named after this Dio. Okay. Named before I even watched JoJo's at all.
Yeah, named after Ronnie James Dio, I assume.
I think that's how it would go. Dio would be like, I mean, what? You're just a vampire, man. Like, what are you? You're using guns. What kind of loser are you? Where's your stand? And then he would just fucking wail on Alucard. And Alucard would just get back up. And he'd just keep doing that. He just keeps standing back up until Dio stops. Yeah, that's the end of the sentence. Until Dio stops.
Yeah, I can't disagree.
Yeah.
I could disagree, but I choose not to.
How would you disagree with that? Would it be anything better than just saying that Dio would absolutely get top billing?
I mean, I would probably just disagree by going, no.
I mean, like, as a genuine argument, the only argument to be made is that Dio gets the top billing, so he would come out ahead. But Alucard would win. He wouldn't use level 0 at all in a narrative sense. There's no way that's happening.
No, definitely not.
That's like he would use that if Dio came in and attacked him with like every stand user that Dio has under his control plus everyone else too. Then Alucard might go, alrighty, I think it's about time. But obviously Schrodinger would just not be involved at all. So you would just have Alucard using a couple of his levels, just spanking Dio to death.
Interesting way to put it.
I'm sure someone likes that image. Akuma versus Shao Kahn. Akuma wins.
Yeah, for sure.
In fact, Shao Kahn would be the final boss. Akuma would come in, kill him, and then become the secret final boss in a Mortal Kombat versus Street Fighter game.
That'd be kind of cool, though.
It would be sick. I don't know what the Mortal Kombat equivalent to Akuma coming in like that would be. Unless they just have like
Reptile, I guess.
I was thinking more like Onaga just like falls from the ceiling, just steps on the boss you should be fighting, and now you're fighting Onaga.
Well, I was thinking in the sense of like in MK1, you have to do all these absurd things to fight Reptile. Yeah. It's the same way Akuma is.
I know what you mean, but like putting Akuma and Reptile on the same pedestal. I
think it's based. I like Reptile.
Yeah, but like it would be really funny because like it's like you're not fighting the big guy, you're fighting the jobber. Good luck.
Could you win?
Yes. Korra versus Storm.
It's not as clear cut of a conclusion when we're taking narrative, like if they crossed over into account.
Korra, I feel like it would be like Korra wouldn't get to use Avatar State. Storm would win, because she's more experienced, and she would give Korra advice on how to be better as the Avatar.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's probably how it would go. She's not going to kick the crap out of Avatar Korra though, because again, the avatars in their Avatar states are generally portrayed as like completely unwinnable if you're fighting them. I mean, look how Ozai did. Madara versus Aizen. Oh man, this is where I put this incorrect on the thumbnail, and people get upset. Get really upset.
Yeah, I feel like Madara would definitely win because like Aizen, he does pretty good against like no selling like Yoroichi, Urahara, and fucking why can't I think of his name? Ichigo's dad.
Dad Chigo.
Ishin, that's his name. Ishin, Yoroichi, and Urahara show up, and Aizen bodies all of them. And then Yamamoto shows up, and then he calls Wonder Weiss to come save him. Because he's a bitch. And then the instant Ichigo comes along at his full power, Aizen just gets throttled. Meanwhile, within the actual, like, fight against Madara, no one was ever really at his level except Hashirama.
That's cheating, though.
Because by the time that Naruto and Sasuke reached that level, they were fighting Kaguya.
The whole point of Hashirama is he's the guy that can fight Madara. That's like the beginning and ending of his like purpose. Would be great if he was around to help. Shame. I feel like, from what I know, Madara would beat Aizen, and then Aizen would be like, "Nah, I mean, like I knew that would happen. That's like just part of what I planned to do," and he'd just play it off like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm gonna put that incorrect. I'm gonna watch the comment section burn. and we're going to jump straight into Saitama versus Popeye. This one is going to be just as lovely. Because the problem here is that, I mean, if you know, you know. It's Saitama and it's Popeye. Right? That's the problem here. Popeye does take L's, but the problem is that's pre-spinach. And post-spinach, he's just Saitama, but sillier.
I feel like it really would be as simple as Saitama beats him in one shot, he picks up some spinach, and then absolutely clobbers Saitama, and Saitama's like, what did you do? What is that?
Yeah, it would be played like for gags like the fly, or the,
It was a mosquito, not a fly.
Yeah, the mosquito. And the mosquito and the cat scratching at his face sort of deal.
Uh-huh.
Or it would be like a proper fight, and then turns out Saitama was dreaming, and then the last shot is of a Popeye can of spinach, and he's like, he just winks at the camera like, yeah, he caused that dream to happen, because he's Popeye. He can do that now. He can do that. That's the Popeye thing. Yeah, that's the Popeye thing. That's what he's famous for.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah, because
You got it.
I feel like this is one that just can't put this in ambiguous, because I don't think they'd show us a winner.
I feel like Popeye would get the upper hand, beat him, and then Saitama would be like, dang, you're crazy powerful. We should fight again sometime. You want to get some food? And then Popeye would be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's go get some food. It's like, what do you want to eat? Spinach.
I eat me spinach.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in correct just for the sake of it. I mean, the thing is, Saitama was equaled by Garo for a bit until he, like, grew super strong. And that was in the manga, not the webcomic, but it happened. That doesn't really happen with Popeye.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a thing that happens. Harley versus Jinx. I mean, I want to say Jinx would win. At the same time, DC fucking adore Harley right now.
That is true.
They're giving her corporate cunnilingus because she is getting the hardest push in DC since Batman and Joker. It's always a Bat Family character.
Joker is not a part of the Bat family.
Bat Family character, you know what I mean? Like, just like that sphere of DC, the Bat Sphere. That sounds like something that exists in DC as like some cosmic concept, the Bat Sphere.
That's why Batman's in every universe. Come on.
Yeah, the Bat Sphere. The universe is just a big sphere. Yeah, I think Harley would just get the win for that reason, because that's what they do with her. She's the best around, and Jinx is not. No one likes League of Legends. Scarlet Witch versus Zatanna.
Probably Zatanna, just because she'd most likely be the hero of the situation.
Yeah,
right?
I think it would just be Scarlet Witch is going a little cuckoo. Zatanna shows up, gets overpowered, and then undoes the brain thing, and Scarlet Witch goes back to normal.
Yeah, probably.
Tanjiro versus Jonathan. Now, Jonathan is very firmly dead, and he's been dead for the majority of the JoJo's manga. In fact, he spent more time as a corpse being controlled by someone else's head than he did alive.
That is true.
I do wonder, did Dio using Jonathan's body show up in more chapters than Jonathan did? Because
Yes.
Dio doesn't do a whole lot, but I think that the whole extended bit at the end there would just be longer than, like...
Because part
one's
one's
not
just
very
not long.
Yeah, it's quite short. With that in mind, there's a part of me that wonders if they would give Jonathan the win out of respect for that. Of like, he was the first guy, he was the guy, he started it, and he is like one of the only JoJos that could give you a solid punching without any sort of magic powers. He would just
Yeah, I could imagine Jonathan Joestar just fighting Star Platinum.
Yeah, like Joseph is the only other JoJo that is like a physical beefcake in any way, and not to the same level. So the question comes in: would he beat? Because Tanjiro is getting the push. Like, as big as JoJo's is right now, at least, Demon Slayer is probably bigger. And I mean, I say that knowing that if I showed my dad either of these characters, he would know that's a JoJo's. He would not know what the hell a Demon Slayer is. But my dad is old, and so am I, and I know both because I watched Death Battle, and also I couldn't escape knowing who Tanjiro is. But I mean, it should have been Tanjiro versus Hyakimaru, though. Like, that's neither here nor there, but, Who do you think they're going to give the win to in this sort of situation? I don't know why they're fighting. I don't know why they would ever fight.
I think Jonathan would win.
Explain yourself?
No.
Fair enough. All right. Thor versus Vegeta. Thor's winning. Vegeta is Vegeta.
Yeah. Hate to see it, but at the same time, it wouldn't be him if we didn't.
And I guess even more blatant than that is Omni-Man Homelander. The fucking Amazon Twitters were basically going, "Nah, Omni-Man would win. What are you on about?" Like they got in on it. They were like, "Nah, Omni-Man is the boy that does the big thing," and Homelander.
Especially in a crossover, Neil Gaiman is convinced Omni-Man could beat Superman. So, or not Neil Gaiman, fucking what the fuck is his name? Robert
Someone
Kirkman.
else who doesn't know anything. Yeah, Omni-Man is the guy that Homelander
Robert
thinks
Kirkman,
he is.
that's his name.
Like, that's the thing. Omni-Man is the guy that Homelander thinks he is.
It's like, if even the creators are convinced of the fact that Omni-Man could beat Superman, then I'm sure they'd be convinced that he's going to beat Homelander. And it's like, Homelander's not above getting his shit kicked in either.
No. I mean, the one time in a comic, because this would be comic Homelander, the one time Homelander fought someone on his level, he died. Really badly. So the best Homelander's going to get out of this is he's going to do some bad damage to Omni-Man if they're portrayed as equal. And Omni-Man is just going to fucking shred him in half. Magneto versus Tetsuo. I think Magneto.
Now hold on. You said shred him in half. I want to note that inherently, by the definition of what shredding is, that would not leave something in half.
Yeah, it will.
No.
Yes. You would shred him in half. A shred is a strip of material that has been torn, cut, or scraped from something larger. He could just shred a strip straight down the middle of Homelander, and then on either side of that strip is going to be half of him.
It says from something larger.
Yeah, Homelander is larger than half of Homelander. A whole Homelander is bigger than half of a Homelander.
Fucking in the context for play a very fast, intricate style of rock lead guitar, it specifically cites Eddie Van Halen. I think that's funny.
Alright, Magneto versus Tetsuo. I think this would depend on, like, what era of Magneto, but generally, it would be Magneto, because Tetsuo would be a bit off his rocker.
Yeah.
And Magnet would stop him. Boba Fett versus a random predator. I mean, Boba Fett's gonna win.
You're a magnet.
Thank you. I am quite attractive. Well, actually, no, I'm not, but I'm gonna say I am. Boba Fett versus a random predator. There's no world. I mean, you know how many times predators win random crossovers against non-nameless things? They beat Archie.
As much of a feat as that is.
As much of a feat as that is. Lost to Wolverine. Lost to Batman. Lost to Superman, like when they did the whole, I think they did the Justice League thing, or maybe I'm thinking it's the Xenomorphs. Look, I used the Predator. as the poster boy when I said in Crossover Kings there might be characters who get to that bottom tier for a reason. And Boba Fett...
the fuck is Zebra?
What?
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry about it.
I'm always worried about you, Don.
I'm looking at the thing still, and fucking the Toriko one does not have Zebra.
Oh, cool. Raiden versus Excalibur. Raiden would kill it, and then it would, like, the unit would just be rebuilt.
Yeah, probably.
James Bond versus John Wick. This is a tough one, because a composite James Bond is never what's going to be used. They're going to use a specific James Bond, most of which I cannot see doing shit against John Wick.
That's yeah, that's pretty fair.
But the problem, right?
John.
No, go on.
Mm-hmm.
Finish your sentence first.
I feel like John Wick is just like more of an unstoppable force than James Bond is.
Yeah,
where it's
easily.
like if it comes down to a 1v1 fight, inherently he's John Wick.
At the same time, the James Bond they would use would be probably Daniel Craig. And that is the Bond that you could believe matching John Wick in a fight is the thing. And that's the trouble now, is that they would use the Bond that you could buy taking on... I mean, aside from the ones that do some, like, absurdly superhuman stuff, but that's different kind of portrayed as really good. This is the Bond that would take Wick in a fight, and reasonably, I think they would draw if it was Craig Bond. Again, it's hard to say because most of Wick's movies like take place directly after each other with no time.
I like the idea that his name is Craig Bond.
Yeah, Craig Bond. I think the hard part is Wick is usually pretty tired in every fight he's in. He's like every fight is like 10% leveled. It's like what's his face? The guy who does the really cool Dragon Ball animations is like 5% Vegeta versus Green Lantern sort of thing.
Oh, Hyorin Jutsu.
Yeah, Hyorin Jutsu. It is basically like 5% John Wick versus random guys. That's like every fight he's in. Is like 10% power, 5% power, 1% holding back first form John Wick. So like 100% final form John Wick. That's not super often seen. But I still think that Craig Bond would put up an extremely good fight. And if anything, Wick would just barely edge out ahead, but Bond would use some weird gadget to get the upper hand and win in the end, despite the fact that Wick outdid him in the fight itself. So this is one I'm gonna put this one in the middle because I think this is one of the most because it would be Craig. Any other Bond, Wick's winning, but this would be the most semantic of who won. Was it Wick who won because he beat Bond, or was it Bond who won because he turned it around at the last moment?
It was me who won because I had a good time watching.
Black Adam versus Apocalypse. That's fair too. Black Adam versus Apocalypse.
All right.
Now it is Dwayne Johnson Black Adam on the thumbnail, so by that merit he would have to win.
Yeah.
Even aside from that though, it is Black Adam. He is the guy that takes on like whole teams on his own. Now while Apocalypse does that too, let's just say that the Justice League that Black Adam tends to, or the Justice Society of America that Black Adam tends to solo, usually is portrayed with more heavy hitters than the X-Men teams that Apocalypse solos. Because when there's a big heavy hitter in the X-Men, you get like Jean Grey turning Apocalypse into like a boot.
Yeah, I feel like inherently, like, you know, being the first mutant's cool and all, but having an entire pantheon of gods behind your power is a little more narratively impressive.
Imagine Apocalypse is like he looks into Black Adam's mind. He's like, "Oh shit, those guys are backing you up. Oh fuck. I'm out." Pooh.
Yeah, you know how Apocalypse sounds.
Yes, that's Apocalypse's voice, everyone. That's me. Apocalypse!
Why is he fucking like halfway between Vector the Crocodile and Fat Albert?
Find the computer room!
Anyway.
Adam wins, so incorrect. I nearly put it incorrect. I was like, no, wait, no, he actually lost the episode. Trunks versus Silver. Now, if this was normal Trunks versus normal Silver, I would say Trunks would kick the crap out of him. But this is spectacular fuck-up Xeno Trunks here. Against often way too competent for how strong he should be Archie Silver.
Yeah.
So, we are at a problem here, where this Trunks is way stronger than the normal one, but he also fucks up at pretty much, I mean, he took an L to Namek Saga Ginyu, which is, I guess, the only Saga Ginyu, technically, because Targama's not Ginyu, but he took an L to Ginyu, who just hit him with that body change out of nowhere. And, like, Trunks... We gotta talk, buddy. We gotta talk about this. How'd that happen? You're lucky it happened off screen, because if we saw that happen on screen, you would be grilled. You would be cooked, my man. Silver.
Alright, now Trunks, I know it's gonna suck watching Gohan die here again, but remember, timeline has to go how it goes. You can't go changing it. That's what got you into this job to begin with, so don't go interfere.
What if I did anyway?
Yeah, what if I did anyway? I think I could win. It's like I believe you could win, Trunks, but you interfering would still be a problem.
It'd be really funny.
Yeah, but I could totally take him though.
He does do it though. Like, he does interfere. It'd be really funny if Spider-Verse 2099 showed up, and even though he should not win that fight, Trunks finds a way to lose anyway.
It'd be really funny. Fucking Hakumen shows up as well. An entire league of like timeline enforcers that are like, listen, dude, you're out of line. You gotta stop this.
I like how if there was like a timeline enforcer like crossover, you'd have Hakumen, you'd have 2099 Spider-Man from Spider-Verse, you'd have Vector Prime from Transformers, you'd have like Deno from Kamen Rider, and then you could have Trunks. But he would also be the liability. He would also be the actual worst choice from the Time Patrol you could go with. Like, there is not a worse choice from the whole Time Patrol you could grab to be your representative from that group than Trunks.
That's true.
You would want to go with Avatar, Xenoverse 1 Avatar or Xenoverse 2 Avatar. So there just be like some random Dragon Ball I see there too. So we're in agreement that Silver would win? No, Silver wouldn't win.
Probably.
Trunks would lose.
Yeah. To put it as accurately as possible.
Yeah. Oh. SpongeBob versus Ackman.
SpongeBob.
Yeah, I mean, regular Aquaman would probably do really good. This Aquaman is having just the worst day of his life. Jason versus Michael.
It's the worst day ever.
Jason versus Michael is interesting because Michael Myers doesn't really cross over too much, and the one time he was meant to, he was going to do pretty good against the not the Cenobite, Cenobites. While Jason, whenever he crosses over, I mean, he is just the beefcake who doesn't die.
Yeah, Jason would definitely win, but it would end like every Halloween movie ends, with when you think Michael's finally down on the ground, his fucking body disappears, and he's implied to still be alive.
Imagine, like, Jason fucking just stabs Michael straight through the face, pulls the machete out, Michael collapses, then Jason turns and walks away, and then, like, he just stops, he slowly turns around, the body's gone, and then he just kind of keeps going the path he was going to, doesn't address it. Not important.
he's like, fuck it, I just stabbed him through the head. Even if he's alive, he does not want to run it back.
He's taking that L. He's taking that L with some dignity. You know, I gotta respect the player. Just gonna be honest. I'm gonna kill those kids now. That's how it go. I do think Jason would win. Just because, like, you know, when he fought Freddy was hurting himself just from hitting Jason. And when he fought Ash, I mean, he did lose both crossovers with Ash. They both lost that one. But when he fought Leatherface, the whole Sawyer family had to gang up on him.
I'm thinking of the part where fucking an entire car gets lifted by a vortex and Jason just stands there.
That is a solid Jason moment. All right, Sauron.
He just chooses to be unmovable.
I'm playing into my BMI. I'm too much for you. Sauron versus the Lich King.
He shifted all of his weight down to his toes.
He just turns into like a fucking anime character. Sauron versus the Lich King. Sauron would win. Sauron doesn't lose direct fights really that often. Lich King's whole thing is he did do that. He did just lose. At full power, Sauron would just thump Lich King narratively. In the context of during Lord of the Rings, the Lich King probably would be able to pretty easily barrel through all of Sauron's forces and toss the ring into the volcano, because the ring wouldn't be able to affect him with all the shit that's already affecting him. But that would be in the context of a Sauron who is essentially just a piece of jewelry. Deku versus Asta. I don't know. But I want to put this into incorrect just to piss off all the Black Clover fans. But I'm not going to do that because the good ones are you. I
feel like Deku would win mainly because Asta's whole bit is anti-magic, and when you're comparing them directly, like, obviously Asta's still insanely powerful, and a lot of his swords still do stuff, even if there's not directly magic to cut. But I feel like if they're put on an equal playing field, Deku's powers are just widely more versatile, more useful, and aren't reliant on Asta having a given power.
Alright, so I have to go take a piss. And I'm going to leave it running, because you can talk about your favorite episode, and the one that you know the most about, Gogeta versus Vegito. Have fun.
Vegito would win, because they have said multiple times that it's just better. I've talked at length about that one on this channel before in other videos. So instead, I'm going to take the time to, let me think. What do I take the time to do? Tell you about how Ben 10 Ultimate Alien introduced the weakest new aliens to the series. Because, you know, Clockwork's pretty cool. I don't mind him. The Andromeda 5 are mostly fine. I think a couple of them can be a little plain. You got Fast Track, who's just worse. Accelerate. You've got Edel, who, you know, I like Rhinoceros Beetle, so that's a plus, but he's a little dumpy looking. And he's kind of just doing the same thing Upchuck did. And then you've got Jury Rig.
Alright, piss complete.
Kind of just a worse gray matter.
I want to assume that in the part where you're actually talking about this, and not talking about Ben 10, that you just said that Vegeta would win because he did.
Yeah, pretty much. That's about spot on. I said Vegeta would win because they said he would.
Yeah, this is the one time it gets to go in a tier with a bunch of other episodes and not its own tier, because it was like it was made for this tier. It was made for this tier. This is one of the few objective ones. Ant-Man versus the Atom. This would never happen because they would never remember the Atom exists, and they also wouldn't use Hank Pym Ant-Man because they're too hung up on the time he slapped his wife to want to use him again. In anything.
Ant-Man.
Yeah, Ant-Man would win. The Chosen Undead versus the Dovahkiin. Dovahkiin. No one remixed my... If anyone remixes my, like, bored voice saying that into the actual song, I'm not even going to know how to respond to that. But, I mean, the Dovahkiin would definitely kill the undead a ton of times.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the whole thing, is that fucking the chosen undead has to keep dying over and over again to get what he's doing done. The Dragonborn doesn't.
Yeah, the most used to saying Misa gonna die. Yeah. Yeah, you are. I feel like the Dovahkiin would just win. Because, like, he is the protagonist of, like, the biggest part of that franchise. The Chosen Undead, I mean, there are a lot of people I know who don't even know the Chosen Undead is not the protagonist of the second and third game. So while Donovan is there singing, we're going to talk about Killua versus Misaka. And I'm just going to put that straight into Don't Know well enough, because Don is well established that he could watch that Death Battle Analysis 1,000 times and he'll barely remember Rina's name. Darth Vader versus Obito. Vader.
Yeah, Vader probably.
Like Vader, like Obito's really cool. I have come around to Obito a bit, but the thing is, he's not really like Darth Vader is probably closer to Madara in terms of portrayal than Obito. Like real Madara, not Obito Madara. You know. Like, the guy that can take him on is defined by the fact that he's the guy that could take him on, and the guy that's stronger than him is defined by the fact that he is the one guy that's stronger than him. That is Vader during his time.
Yeah.
Luke is special because he can 1v1 him, and Palpatine is special because he could take him down. Just like Hashirama is special because he's the guy that can take on Madara, and Kaguya is special because she's the one that's stronger than Madara. You know? That's the deal we got going on there. Obito's never put on that pedestal.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people have you putting Vader there. Stitch versus Rocket Raccoon. I'm just going to be real with you. Stitch being portrayed as cosmically ridiculously powerful, that is relatively consistent. Rocket Raccoon being portrayed with guns that can take down the cosmically powerful, that's not really a thing he's known for, the same way Stitch is known for does not die good and can survive anything you hit him with.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment, I think.
He's also the character, while Rocket is one of the big characters of the Guardians, but he is still mostly known as just a member of a team. Stitch is the guy of the story. He's the main one.
Rocket is the guy for, like, Guardians 3.
Which he spends most of on the deathbed, so...
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Shout out to that time Stitch fucking died, and then he just came back to life. How is that possible? It isn't.
Phoenix.
And that's the whole explanation we're given.
Raven.
I choose to believe Raven would win because I like her more.
I think... So Phoenix is often given the pedestal a bit more. Raven's not exactly not given it. But the stuff with like the unkindness is the stuff that's on the level of Phoenix. But while she does scale to that power just normally, she's never really portrayed that way. It's not really a thing they try to play into. That said, her debut does basically begin with her going, by the way, if I wanted to, this universe wouldn't be here anymore. Like the most blatant universal thing a character could have just begun with. By the way, I am stronger than everything. The thing is, the good chance Phoenix is the antagonist and she would overpower Raven and Raven would find a way to win. As a lot of these have been like that, and I do think that's kind of how it would go here. Because it's more common for Phoenix to be completely shit off her rocker and Raven to not be. And before anyone claims that I am contradicting what I said for Twilight Raven, in that case it's more likely for Raven to be off her rocker than Twilight, because that's not a thing for Twilight.
Yeah, in the comments, tell him he's wrong anyway.
Yeah, please engage. Guts versus Dimitri. Guts would win.
Yeah, because this is what he does every day.
Beat up guys that are weaker than him? Yeah. Yeah, that is true. Martian Manhunter versus Silver Surfer. That is actually kind of a tough one. That is kind of a tough one, I think. I know the Power Cosmic is the thing that can do anything, but like Silver Surfer barely fucking uses it to its fullest extent, and it's not a consistent thing. Martian Manhunter would be portrayed as much stronger, though, I think. Just in brute force. They would play into, he's the guy that can 1v1 Superman. Silver Surfer is not.
I think that's a fair assessment, yeah. I think that's valid.
Yeah. So, but that's not enough to say that Martian Manhunter would win in a crossover. Like, just because he would be portrayed as much stronger. And I do think they would portray Silver Surfer as way faster. I actually don't know if I can make a call off the top of my head. I'd have to think about it, because they're both given a pedestal, just a different kind.
I think if nothing else, Martian Manhunter might be able to start playing mind games with him.
Yeah, both have the psychic thing, but like Manhunter does play into it a lot more than Surfer, generally. Surfer more plays into fly fast, shoot laser beam, then just fly faster until you do something that speed cannot do. Manhunter is punch, phase, laser, fuck with your head.
Yeah.
There is no way this ends in death, or even this ends. This fight's not going to just end in a victor. There is no way, like almost objectively, no way that happens, because they can just read each other's heads, and they will, like, they would have to be so dense that they never think to do some mindfuckery.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would give it to Martian Manhunter on the premise that he could fuck with Silver Surfer's mind and then should be strong enough to put him on the ground.
Yeah. Whoop. Bill Cipher versus Discord. I think Discord would win.
Yeah, if we're going with the hero-villain dynamic.
Yeah, even like ignoring that, I just feel like Bill is the guy that gets easily frustrated by normal people just doing things he doesn't want them to do. Discord is the guy that frustrates people just by virtue of being Discord around them. I think he would just egg Bill on until Bill loses it, and then just puts Bill into a bad situation and just like leaves him there.
I feel like that might be bad for Discord though, because
it would definitely
Bill
be
has Discord has completely incinerated other cosmic beings that are supposedly on his tier. Meanwhile, Discord has struggled against people relative to his power before.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, to be honest, there is nothing. There is one thing on Bill's level in all of Gravity Falls, and that's a big fucking axolotl that he's never really been in the same story as before, prominently at least. I don't know, he might be in the book that the axolotl's in, but I do think he would like vaporize Discord, and then Discord would just be fine anyway. So you're like, oh well, that was a good try, and they would just piss Bill off more. I think Discord plays into the Toon Forcey thing a lot more than Bill does. That's an important thing. Bill's reality warping, it did fuck with the intro, but that's as far as it goes, really, in terms of like meta stuff, while Discord is out here changing genres, skipping pages, unzipping the animation.
Take the wheel for a second. I gotta
all right,
take care of something for like 2 seconds.
I feel like Bill, because Bill's main thing, he vaporized Time Baby, but he gets easily frustrated, and when like they were in the dream and they were making things happen, it was pissing Bill off. It was enough to like get him annoyed. It didn't stop him at all. So I do think the logical conclusion would be, in any situation, Discord is going to come out ahead, and Bill's going to recover pretty quickly. He'll be fine, but Discord's going to like evict him like a landlord from Equestria, and Bill's going to be like, oh well, I found some other world. I'll go deal with these schmucks. Probably like G3 My Little Pony or something. And I think that's how it would go. So I'm going to put this in incorrect, though I do think there is there is a point of debate. Cole McGrath versus Alex Mercer. Cole's winning.
Yeah, definitely.
Frieza versus Megatron.
I think this one's tough to call.
Okay, thinking about the Megatrons they used, it was just IDW and G1 comic, right? Or G1 cartoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, G1 cartoon Megatron's not going to lose to Frieza. He's going to lose to himself. He's going to fuck something up. IDW, I think, would win because he would be in the hero role. He would be in, like, that protagonistic role. And Frieza would be dominating in raw power. And Megatron would be pushed and pushed and pushed to his breaking point. Bust out.
Well, see, there's two ways about this because the most recent thing we've seen Frieza do is one-shot both protagonists.
Yeah, but that's stupid and dumb.
That is stupid and dumb. However, the other way about this is that immediately after Frieza's big...
Don't you fucking act like this arc is going to end with Frieza winning in the end. Don't you fucking... I mean, this could age really badly, but...
The granola arc did.
Yeah, that's an arc where he just shows up at the end and wins. He doesn't act... It's not his arc. There's going to be another arc coming after. And this could age badly, but I don't think Frieza's going to be winning that arc in the end.
Revival F would have ended the same way as well if Whis didn't give him a free reset. I will say, though, Frieza's the only villain in Dragon Ball to be brought back just to introduce someone by fucking murdering him.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about, like, the Broly movie is what I'm thinking here, with, like, Frieza fighting a good person who's gone off the rocker and kind of lost it around Frieza. That didn't end well for Frieza. And Megatron, he's not portrayed as a Broly figure. That's probably more like Overlord. But Megatron with the antimatter, I think that Frieza would be like, what the bloody hell's going on here? And then he would be really fucked up by it and just, like, retreat or something. He'd just fuck off and go. Be like, it's not worth it. This is like shredding my body up. I don't want to have to go through that shit again. If I get turned into a bunch of cubes again, God, you have no idea how pissed off I'll be. But
that's fair.
That is like interpreting it if it was IDW Megatron in the Autobot Megatron era.
The story that would, like, the story for the analysis in Friezatron definitely focuses more on IDW. It's, the G1 cartoon is mostly used for, just, like, abilities.
Alright. Because, like, I'm thinking about the scene where Megatron cuts sick on the DJD and fucking kills them all, whacks out Glitch, just thumps them proper. And like IDW does deal with like that really high scale shit, honestly, to a level Dragon Ball doesn't tend to, because Dragon Ball, you're lucky to see planet busting in Dragon Ball despite its reputation.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the manga, how many planets blow up? King Kai's planet, Namek, Vegeta,
Earth twice.
Yeah. While with IDW, you got like here's an entire universe that wants to punch you in the face.
The one that Beerus destroys half of, the one that Beerus sneezes on.
Yeah, but like even that is also like comparing Beerus to,
not in the manga, but Arlia in the filler. I mean, if, I'm probably forgetting something. Why is this not full screen? I'm only just noticing that, and that's bothering me. There we go.
Don, do you have any notion of how little I can see your screen?
Well, I was just vocalizing it to myself because I'm in talking mode right now because we're recording.
That's fair enough. I don't know where to put this. I'm gonna put this in just because, unlike with Optimus Gundam, where it's like very clear, basically any G1 Optimus is winning that. I'm gonna put this in unsure because it really is just going to depend on what Megatron. And yeah, Gojo Makima. Gojo's winning. I've not read either manga, watched either anime, but Gojo is winning this. Unless he says, nah, I'd win. In which case, well, fuck, man. If Gojo goes in thinking he'll win but not saying he'll win, he's gonna win this. If he goes in and announces to the world that Makima is a punk ass bitch, then he's gonna die.
Yeah. That's about right. Makima definitely is not Sukuna though.
That's true, she is Makima.
Sukuna's an entirely different beast.
Scooby-Doo versus Courage. Yeah, I'm gonna say this is just accurate to how it would go. Last two. Rick Sanchez versus El Doctore.
I feel like the Doctor would win by finding some way around Rick to just, like, leave him pissed off, but not, completely. Like, Rick would be doing his Rick thing, be in control of the situation. The Doctor would finally get, like, that one thing he needs to completely nullify whatever Rick's trying to do, and then would just fuck off and leave him angry.
Send him to the penis dimension.
Yeah, and Rick's gonna be like, I fucking hate Time Lords.
Yeah, and he's gonna say it in a stupid voice, too. Alright, last one. Galactus versus Unicron. Now, this is the tough one, because Galactus, he works a lot of jobs, to put it that way.
I don't know what you mean by that. That doesn't mean anything to me.
He's a jobber.
Oh, okay.
There is an equal chance you're going to come across Galactus during his unstoppable, nothing's going to stop him, that's what unstoppable means, era, or phase, or he's going to be in I'm going to fucking lose to show you how strong this other guy is phase. Unicron is the kind of guy that Galactus jobs to show how strong the other guy is. Unicron doesn't lose direct fights. He loses circumstantial scenarios that go in a way for him to fail, and we only see the timelines where the Unicron avatar of that timeline loses, because we know for a fact that the majority of them, he comes out ahead when he actually starts doing shit. Like,
yeah, I like that time where he came out ahead because they fucking knock his head off.
There's one comic called The Beast Within, and the canonical conclusion to that timeline is, oh yeah, so after the comic, when the Beast killed everyone, there wasn't enough people to do anything, so Unicron just ate the universe. That's how that ends.
Oh, awesome.
Because it's a reviled comic. It's not a good comic. It's like the Dinobots fuse into some horrible looking dog shit thing, and then kills everyone, and that's just the story. Does that sound fun? If you were a fan of something, would you like to see a story where a group of cool characters become a horrible monster and murder all your favorite other characters? Does that sound fun to you?
Fucking Carnatrix ass story. No, I hate that.
What the fuck is
fucking Sonic EXE. I'm so fucking tired of these stories where it's like, what if this character was fucked up and evil and killed everyone, and wouldn't that be edgy and awesome? It's like, no, that'd be stupid. That'd be dumb. That's boring. Stop doing it.
Yeah, it's not good.
That's the ranking.
Well, no, we haven't actually decided where Galactus Unicron goes, because the problem is that at the same time in a crossover, Galactus would be the hero. So it's a question of, like, in the crossover, Unicron would be the antagonistic force. Galactus, if it had to be Galactus is the only one to take him on, then I think Galactus would have to win. But in a proper crossover between, like, Marvel and Transformers happening again, I could totally see that Galactus would have a 1v1 against Unicron, fucking die to show how strong Unicron is, then everyone teams up to fight Unicron, and then they do something to revive Galactus to help them out, and together they stop Unicron. I could see that being how they deal with it. So it's a matter of, in a big crossover, I think a 1v1 would go to Unicron. In a dedicated just Unicron Galactus, I think Galactus would have to win.
I think just a Unicron Galactus is more suited to the discussion at hand.
Yeah. So I would have to say correct because of that. Because I do think that the way in which Unicron wins is if it's a wider crossover with Marvel, where Galactus is the first one to come across them, and it's like, oh, halt! Strange sphere thing! And then without a word, Unicron just fucking blasts him, and Galactus just instantly loses. To show off, oh, look how strong this guy is. He just one-tapped Galactus. How is Galactus able
what is that, an orange?
I'm not a fan of Danebo. Oh! That's the tier list.
What is that, a circle? Is that a sun?
So that's the tier list.
That's no moon.
Most of this we put in correct. Some of this is just kind of in... I mean, there's really only 2 that are actually unsure. The rest are just like... They would both win, and it's just where do you draw the line on what counts as a win? Except Zora Urza, where we unanimously decided that they're just going to keep fighting forever. Incorrect, spelt incorrectly. Don't know well enough, which is not as big as I expected. Though I guess this is why I wanted to do this with you instead of doing it on my own, because I knew that you'd be able to cover the ground that I couldn't. And they're not applicable.
There you have it, folks. Get in the comments one last time to tell us which ones we're wrong about and which ones should happen in the future. Just leave a comment with a matchup and suggest it to us as if we're Death Battle or we're going to see that and make it happen.
Yeah, that would be a
somehow.
great idea. They're definitely going to
That'd be
do
a
that.
funny
You only need
good
me to
idea.
tell them.
One of the first comments in this video is going to be not Death Battle ideas, and then like 5 ideas. I'm going to go, what? I don't get it. And half of them are going to be serious ideas too, or just obscure ideas that don't have a joke.
Or some OCs made by some obscure YouTuber.
Yeah.
And you know, I appreciate the engagement. I keep doing that. I do appreciate the engagement.
At the same time, you know how many fan requests have happened on Not Death Battle so far? 1.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I have no idea.
Luigi versus FNAF.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think. There might have been another. There was this whole like idea of bringing Not Death Battle Mini back for requests. If I manage to get more time on my hands, which I could bring that back and be like, hey, if you support me on Patreon to the 2nd tier, I'll do a Not Death Battle Mini of whatever idea you want. Unless you give me an idea that's so bad that I decide to give you your money back. But, you know, that's on you. Don't give me Skeets versus Herbie. That generally could just happen for Season 4 now. Because that's such a bad idea. It's literally just a sphere versus a thing that with the T-Rex arms. Alright, goodbye everyone. Say goodbye, Don.
Good night, everybody.